for bed at a regular time is one of the most important habits you can learn.
Who you gonna call?
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Oh, Lori, scared another one away.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
We are counselors at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. There is a swarm of bears.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you.
It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Scream Stream. Now, we are on episode 50, and I'm super excited to talk about this episode today. Like, I've been waiting a couple of weeks now, I'm not even gonna lie, to sit down and watch this movie. I'm finally glad I was able to do it a couple of days ago, and it was a blast of a movie. I've watched it twice so far. We are talking about Late Night with the Devil. Now, I like a lot of people, I'm thoroughly impressed with this movie. Thoroughly impressed. Was it as scary as I wanted it to be? Sadly, no. But, you know, I have high expectation when it comes to actually physically scaring me out of my chair and stuff. Terrified. Yeah, sorry, I hate to always bring that one up, but, you know, that movie shocked me. That movie shocked me for good reasons, and I absolutely love that movie. But with this one, the scares are a lot more subtle, a lot more of a slow burn build up, and I appreciate that. I love good scares like this. They're not my favorite scares, because again, I love the ones that make me jump out of my seat and scream out loud or something. But, you know, a good slow burn scare, absolutely always in for it. And that's basically what this movie is. It's a well built up, kind of scared, just a mind, like, pardon my French on this, but it's true, a mind fuck of a movie. It's basically a well built up mind fuck of a movie, because it gets crazy, especially with the premise. And of course, we've all seen that the premise is like a kind of mockumentary found footage style, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of it worked for me for that. I like the opening for sure. You know, the mockumentary itself setting up what we're about to watch, you know, what's going on, you know, who these people are and everything. And we'll get more into that when we actually dive into the movie itself. But I like the feel of that, and I absolutely love the feel, the style, the acting, and the costume designs for the 70s. Like, it felt like the 70s. It felt like I honestly went to YouTube, typed in a 1970s talk show, and clicked a random video and decided to watch it for a Halloween episode or something. It is that good. It's that good when it comes to the style. I mean, even the aspect ratio they had for the screen itself was really just a really nice touch. Now, I will say one of my least favorite aspects is the behind-the-scenes footage that ties in with all this shenanigans we get. And the reason why it kind of mind boggles me is because it's a complete different feel from the rest of the movie. Like, there's one other time the camera does a neat little trick, and that's near the end of the movie where like the craziness actually starts to happening. Alright, let me phrase that. That's where the craziness actually starts to happen. There we go. But basically, we go from the 70s feel of the movie, and we transfer over to like an HD widescreen, and you feel this craziness just kind of absorbing off the screen because of this, and then eventually it goes back to the 70s feel. But, you know, that worked because I like the concept and the idea, and I'll get there when I get there when we, like I said, dive into the movie. And I'll explain a little bit more about how I see that scene. But that seemed okay, and I like that. But when you do the behind-the-scenes stuff, it's a little jarring because they don't really clarify exactly who was filming backstage. They're like, oh yeah, they took some footage backstage. Is this a normal thing? Is this a normal Tuesday thing? And I get, it's supposed to be a steady cam kind of shot, but you're telling me that there's just these guys, or one guy with a camera backstage following these people while they're trying to have private conversations? I think not, good sir. I think not. Especially with some of those camera angles. No. Now, I will say, my buddy Bidwell, who I watched the movie with the other night, when we talked about it, he actually came up with a fantastic idea that I actually agree with, and I really wish they would have done it this way. And it's keep the cameras, cuts the commercial, whatever, keep the cameras rolling, and have them have these conversations, like, off to the side of the set or something, not directly like backstage. And if it's backstage, get one of the cameras closer to backstage to record, what they're talking about, and keep it like that, because it just doesn't feel right. Just the camera work doesn't feel right. I like the backstage stuff because of the lore exposition. It kind of not dumps on us, but does bring in some more knowledge that we need to kind of fill in some holes in the show. And it also adds some runtime to the movie, because this movie is actually quite short. Like, I was not expecting it to be only an hour and a half, but yeah, no, it's an hour and a half, and it doesn't feel like an hour and a half, and that's actually a good thing. Usually it's not a good thing, but in this situation, it's a good thing, because the slow burn works. That means the slow burn is doing its job, and it's really got you invested. And you're not looking at the clock going, all right, when's this movie going to be over? How many more minutes we got? Like, the only time I looked at the clock was, like, near the end when we were reviewing the tapes and everything. I was just like, holy shit, like, are we about to abruptly end? Like, how much longer do we have of this movie? And I paused and realized we still had, like, 20 minutes left. I was like, holy shit. Let's keep going, it was one of those situations. So I can appreciate the short run time. My buddy, like I said, who I watched it with, he thinks the movie might have benefited a little bit more for like 15 extra minutes. I think maybe they would have rewrote some moments to maybe better clarify, or maybe kind of expand on some aspects. It might have been a little bit more understandable. But it's also one of those movies where you really don't want to think too terrible. This ain't like an H.P. Lovecraft where everything is like some crazy shenanigans kind of thing. This is, well, I hate to say it, traditional Hollywood conspiracy demon, if that makes any sense. And if not, I'll explain it in a bit. And the reason why I want to explain it in the bit is because before we continue on, I would like to talk about the biggest elephant in the room, and this is the one that caught me off guard when everyone's talking negatively about this movie. And I say negatively with air quotes because this is not necessarily a negative to the movie, it's more of a opinion. So, of course, we know we're dealing with the whole writer strike with, unfair pay, wages, and gaps and stuff, which I'm all for, all to it. And we're dealing with basically AI taking over certain roles in Hollywood, such as drawing, graphic designs, voice acting and stuff. And I can get the frustrations, trust me. I think we all have that fear of robots taking our jobs and, what are we supposed to do kind of scenarios. But the thing is with these, like, chat GPTs or whatever, the AI scripts, the AI, acting and stuff, it's not necessarily good. Because they're AI, it's young, they're still investigating and I guess trying to figure it out. But to me, I've never really seen a good one. The only good one I saw, and they quickly reverted it to real actors after the backlash, was the Scooby-Doo parody I saw that was stop motion with Scooby-Doo at Five Nights at Freddy's. Which, to be honest, I thought he took the voices from, like, the cartoon and stuff. I didn't realize he used an AI to recreate the voices from Scooby-Doo. And apparently some people took offense to that. How dare he just do a passion project? Shame on him for doing a passion project. Oh my God, the amount of money he didn't get because it was a passion project. No. Let's threaten his livelihood and tell him he would never work in Hollywood. You handled yourself so well, bitch. I'm sorry, that was a personal jab at the actress who voiced Daphne. I'm sorry. Like, I get you were upset about that situation, but you stooped so low. It's not even like he was paying people. He was doing this himself. Okay, it was a passion project. It was something he did on his own spare time. He wasn't expecting it to blow up overnight. He was sure as hell wasn't expecting you to bitch him out over the internet. I mean, frankly, let's ask yourself this personal question, if I may go on a tangent real quick. If he would have called and asked you to come voice this character, Daphne, in the show, would you actually would have done it? I'm going to see the future and say, no, you would not have, because you seem stuck up. End the tangent. Point is, AI taking over the world is a big problem. And again, I can get it. I think there's just better ways to handle the situation. You know, threatening people's jobs and livelihoods because they don't have the money, the backing, or frankly, the understanding of how badly this was going to piss somebody off, to start threatening their existence and start attacking people and saying, oh, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen or ever read or ever heard because of AI. The elephant I'm talking about in question is the three, by the way, three if I may add, just three AI computer generated pictures. Here's the thing though, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what three photos, they show so many photos that just don't even look real. Okay, let me rephrase this. They like at one point when they're talking to the non-magician character, not Christo, Carmichael, that's his name. When they're talking to Carmichael, and he's showing pictures of him doing his investigations, he's in front of the Amityville house. The old Amityville house. The one that no longer exists because they have repainted it and removed the windows. Yeah, that one. No one's talking about that one? Did no one notice that? Like, I don't think he actually time traveled back into the past and took a picture in front of the freaking house. Okay? So, yeah, you explain that one. That's not CGI or Photoshop. I don't know what it is. Unless he just happened to be a lucky dude and in actual reality took a picture in front of the old Amityville house. That would be freaking sweet, I'm not gonna lie. But I highly doubt that. The point is, I saw several photos doing stuff like that I can't tell which one's the actual AI one. Like, they're saying it's the cutaways from when they go to commercial break. But they do a couple of those. And even still, like, they're just basic. Like, they're basic. They're not even on the screen for all that long. Like, it's literally like 3-4 seconds. Not even that. And people pissed off about 3 generated images that are 3 to 4 seconds long in an hour and a half movie. Let's do some math here and see what the problem is. Because 1 plus 1 is not equal to right now. Like, I get it, man. I get it. You know, I'm not one to say shit. I shouldn't be saying shit, to be honest. But it's just how I feel about the situation. Like, I understand the frustration. I get it. People shouldn't be doing this. But when you're, I guess, put into a situation when you really have no other choice, and you didn't think it would actually do any harm because of the fact that it's literally 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds. You gonna get mad over 3 seconds? Now, I can get in those 3 seconds, you know, you murdered somebody. That's a reason to get mad at somebody. Oh my God, in 3 seconds, instead of changing your life, you killed a man. That's okay. You know, that's perfectly alright. But you shouldn't get mad over an image. And it's not even like a dirty image either. It's not even like a horrifying, scarring image that's gonna freak everybody out, you know. It's literally a cutaway gag. Family Guy could probably do it. But I do not think because of that this movie should get negative inputs. Like, if you're gonna critique it for what it actually is, okay? If you want to critique it in a negative way, here's a couple of things I should suggest. First, Don't stutter over your words like I just did. It makes yourself look like a fool. Second, the electricity effect. That one was a little gimmicky, a little silly. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. That happened a couple of times throughout the movie. I thought it was a little silly. The makeup effect on Lily, certain angles looked really, really good. Like, I really liked it. I was just like, oh my god, is that a dude? Is that a chick? Like, what's going on here? Like, is she really possessed? And then other angles, when the light's hitting it just right, it's just like, ooh, that's a bad practical effect right there. And then, like, you notice it, like, with Gus having that big-ass hole right there. I get it, it's supposed to be a hypno thing, but, it's rather obvious. Like, you don't want to make that shit obvious. But other practical effects, they did really good, like when he ripped open his stomach, or when Lily was levitating, cool shit like that. They did a good job. They did a lot of practical effects. But some of the other effects, though, just, not the best. Not really the best. So you're going to critique it like that, man. Don't threaten people's livelihood because you're mad over a AI generated image of 3 seconds. If that's literally what it takes to piss you off, I'm surprised how long you've lived in life. Like, straight up. Pray for patience. God will give you patience, I promise. Anyway, there was something I wanted to come back to about the movie, and now I have forgotten about... yes, now I remember. Now I'm looking back at my notes. So let's talk about something before we dive on into the director's casting and some little fun facts and stuff. The Grove. So here's a little fun fact for everybody. The Grove is mentioned throughout this entire movie, and if you haven't seen this movie, I will be diving into it, spoiler territory all the way, so spoiler alerts for anybody who wants to sit down and watch this movie. I highly suggest you do that first before you get into this movie, or get into this podcast, I should say, because it's a really good movie. It's really enjoyable. But The Grove is mentioned throughout this whole, movie, especially with Jack having some ties to The Grove. Well, here's a little fun fact about The Grove. It's actually based on a real... club. It's like a boys' club. A men's club, I should say. I forget what the actual Grove is called, but I think it's in California somewhere. It was actually founded in the 1800s by rich politicians. Actual politicians go there. I don't know if that's still a thing now. Probably is, knowing Hollywood. Probably is. But the fact that it actually exists, and this was a thing. These guys would get together and... who knows what the hell they would talk about. Like, nobody knows what the hell they talked about except those men in the rooms. But we have our conspiracy theories. Now, this is where it's going to get a little fun here. So, we all know the conspiracy about Hollywood. You sold your soul to the devil. Keep that in mind when you watch this movie. That's how I viewed this movie. That, literally, Jack sold his soul to the devil. And this is him getting his desserts. As simple as that. We're literally watching a full circle movie where it's just like, alright, Jack, you want a favor? Well, you gotta give me something. And we all know how deals with the devils are. A lot of people like to write their deals with the devil to have this, like, squeaky clean contract. But no, the devil likes to play with words. I'm sure that's why Johnny Carson on the late night show was doing #1 and never could get beat. I'm sure his contract was better worded than Jack's. But we all know the devil don't play fair. The devil is kind of a mean trickster. The devil don't like to do just nice things just to be nice. And he doesn't just give you things just to be nice. As they say, the master deserves a sacrifice. The master wants a sacrifice. Well, what are you willing to sacrifice in Hollywood to get this? Now, of course, the cliche matter is a loved one, a family member, what are people willing to pay? But you also got to keep in mind with the devil, it's not always just a simple, alright, you paid it forward, continue on with life, I won't bother you again. The devil's always going to make you want more. Okay, so you're #1 this week. What if I can make you #1 for the rest of the year? Oh, wait, okay, now you're #1 for the rest of the year, and now 2 of your loved ones are dead? Well, I could make this a 5-year thing if you want. Oh, well, look at that. Half your family is gone, and so is your mental instability. But I can keep these roles going for you. but you gotta sign. You get what I'm saying here. You get what I'm saying. The devil plays games. The devil plays mind games. The devil likes to toy with people, and I'm sure that there's a lot more to this contract than even we as the audience know, because it's the devil. It's the devil. The devils are in the details, as they always say. But yeah, now I want to talk about the Grove, because I found that kind of quite interesting, to be honest. That the Grove thing was actually real. Like, I thought it was a joke, and then Eric's like, no, the Grove is a real thing. Like, it's an actual club. It's a men's club, and I started looking into it, do some research, and yeah, no, it was an actual like Illuminati thing. Like, it was crazy. Like, I don't know if they did, like, sacrificial rituals and stuff in there, but, you know, again, Hollywood, we know the jokes, we know the whole gimmick going on with Hollywood. Like I said, you sell your soul to the devil, what's the price you're willing to pay? Some are willing to pay in, you know, money, some are willing to pay in family deaths, some are willing to pay in blood, secrets, you know. I probably should shut my mouth before I have Men in Black to show up at my door going, you know too much. The point is, Hollywood just does crazy things because Hollywood wants to remain relevant. People in power want to remain in power. People who are rich want to remain rich. And those things don't come cheaply. Those things do not come cheaply. I mean, think about it. What are the odds all these Congress people are 86, 87, 89, you know, kind of pushing death's door, but yet they look somewhat good for their age, except for our president. That man looks like if he coughs wrong, he's gonna die, but I digress. The point is, we look at some of these congressmen, they still in office 60, 70 years later, and they had death's door, but yet death ain't knocking. Now, I'm not saying that our congressmen are in this a secret occult club or anything like that. No, I'm just saying, do some research. You might find some interesting conspiracy theories out there in the world that are quite fun to read into. I'm going to leave it at that. So, with that in mind, let's talk about the people who worked on this movie. So, it was written and directed by two people. We got Collins and Cameron Carnes? I think that's their last name, Carnes, Cairnes. They released this movie back in 2023, and then kind of picked up a lot of traction, a lot of buzz about it, and it wasn't until 2024, I think they released it. I know it was with streaming-wise on Shudder. They released it on the 20th of this month. But yeah, I don't really know anything about them. I looked into their cinematography that was non-existent on Wikipedia. And yeah, there was nothing there, so I really can't put too much input. But they did get a fantastic cast. I really like this cast. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this cast. We're not gonna talk about the whole cast. We're just gonna talk about some of the cast. Colors. We got David. I'm gonna try to pronounce his last name, but I know I cannot pronounce his last name. Dashmartian. No, why am I putting too much emphasis on that? The Schmarskin? I don't know. David. He plays Jack Delroy. Oh, Delroy. Wait, is it Delroy or Delroy? Now that I'm thinking about it. Shit. We'll just call him Jack. He plays Jack, though. He plays Jack, and we all know him from Ant-Man the Wasp, Ant-Man the Quantum something. I didn't watch that one. Bird Box, which I also didn't watch. So, a lot of y'all might actually know him. I only watched the first Ant-Man, okay? Like, and I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't know the guy. So, like, I hate to be that blunt about it, but I really don't. But fantastic, though. I loved him. Did y'all know he actually got hired in this role because he actually wrote an article for Fangoria, which for you horror nerds out there, we love Fangoria. If for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a fun subscription magazine service you can subscribe to that will send you nothing but horror-related magazines. It's really great. I used to be subscribed to them way back in the day. That's where I learned about Trick or Treat, which is another fun movie. Anyway, yeah, no, he wrote an article in Fangoria about a regional TV host, and they were so impressed by it that they sent him a copy of the script, And funny enough, with this copy of the script was a 1970s replica of a TV guide. I don't know if it had any kind of reference to the movie itself, but they called it a lookbook. I'm not quite sure what that is, but yeah, no, apparently after he got that, he accepted the role just like that. We have Laura Gordon, who plays June Ross Mitchell. I know her from Saw 5. Not a bad actress. Just gonna say, not a bad actress. Ian Bliss, who plays Carmichael. Now, I feel silly because I've been trying to figure out for days now, and I probably should look this up. I'm determined to figure this out myself. Who is the magician he's supposed to be based off of? It's the guy who used to be a big-ass magician, and he hung up his own wand and started debunking the psychic paranormal people just like Carmichael. And he actually has a reward set up for people. I think it's like $50,000 or something. And no one's yet to prove him wrong. Which I don't get. What y'all trying to say? Psychics aren't real? Anyway, I can't think of the name of the magician. And I feel so stupid because I've seen his show. I watched this show and I love it, especially that one guy who's trying to move the phone book with his mind. So they put the little packing peanuts around there, and he blamed the packing peanuts. I can't move it. The packing peanuts are putting too much orifices around the phone book, and I can't turn the page now. Maybe dim the lights down a little bit. It's just like bro, walk away while you're still hot, man. Walk away. See, then you got, how do you say his name? I've never heard anybody actually say the guy's name. The guy who plays Christo, Fazlo Bazzi? Oh, shit, I'm probably picturing the hell out of his name. Yeah, I'm willing to bet I am. But he plays Christo. And I really like this guy. He came in very thick accent, really played the mind reader very well. And what's really interesting about his character is we've seen the shtick before. We've seen characters like this, come in. Oh my God, I'm seeing a connection from Peterson. Oh, Peterman, yes, Peterman. Like we've seen that act before. But the reason why I'm kind of confused on whether or not he's an actual psychic is because, yeah, he did hit on point with another lovely set of people about their son, which we'll dive into when we get there. And he was right, but then you find out that his assistant was asking questions about people. Now, I have heard that sometimes when asking questions, it's just a general understanding of who these people are that you can kind of, get a sense and use the right words to connect to the ghost or whatever. Or you can use it to dig up dirt. One of the two. Depending on who you ask. But the point is, you got kind of a skeptical moment there. Then you get told that the guy who was haggling him was a plant put on by the producer. So it's like, so was he correct about the Peterson thing, or is this guy just being a jerk? And then he actually has the message from Minnie that kills him. So is he psychic? I don't know. But I like the way he plays it. And I like the way it makes me think and scratch my head whether or not he was legitimately psychic or not. At least I know with Carmichael's character, yeah, no, he used to be a magician. He shows off about how he used to be a magician. And, he's a big old skeptic. Kind of a pompous asshole, I'm not going to lie. Like, straight up, I wanted to punch him by the end. Thank God he died the way he did. Anyway, you didn't have Ingrid Torley. Hang on. Corky, seriously, pick a spot, buddy. Pick a spot. Pick a lane. Ingrid Torelli, though, she plays Lily. She did a fantastic job as this creepy little girl. I'm not gonna lie. From the way she was able to basically change her mannerism at a drop of a dime was really incredible. Because, she'll come out on stage, be all cutesy and ditzy. Oh my God, I'm only 13. Ha ha ha. And then suddenly she would just become logical, fucking smart, like a little too smart for her good, but she'll get like really in your face about certain questions and won't hold back her emotions. And then you have her dark side, which is where I think like the devil, or as she likes to call him, Mr. Wriggles. Riggles with an R. But yeah, basically when he shows up and stuff like that, like, she does a good job. Very scary, very Reagan-like, if I may add, being from the 77s when this movie's set. Rise Oster plays Gus. Love this guy. He was fun little tag team with Jack. Absolutely adored him. And I was kind of with him with the skeptical shit. Like, it's just like, bro, you're inviting things you should not be inviting onto the set, man. And he's just like, no, bro, the ratings. Like, we love the ratings. But you always gotta have a good skeptic, like a really good friend skeptic. Like, of course, we got that perfect dynamic where we actually have Jack, who believes in this because he's experienced this. Like, he knows. Jack knows. But Jack's gotta play like the double agent here. Yeah, Christo, who is actually, could be possibly, maybe not really a psychic. And then you got Carmichael, who's an actual skeptic. And that's a good balance of people. And I like to have that instead of being swayed one way or another. We have a good chemistry of people. Then you got Lily and June coming in, who are really real. So yeah, it's like a good combo, good arguments, good things are brought up, very good things. And then just a little side note, we got Georgina Hayes, who plays Minnie, or Madeline, who is Jack's wife. She doesn't really have much to say in the movie. She just influences the movie a lot, because throughout the movie, and I thought this was like a really fun fact, we get these little glitches throughout this entire movie. And a couple of them I thought, of course, were, little nods, reference to the demons actually here. The devil is here on the set and he's leaving, coming and going kind of thing. But some of them, if you pause it just right, you can actually see the ghost of his wife. She's everywhere. Some of them on the top of my head are, of course, during the actual talk with Braxis. And at one point you can see her in the back of the head. You can see her in a television when Leo and Jack are talking near the end of the movie. And you see her a lot. She's there, man. She is legitimately there. And I think that is because, again, the devil is a cruel man. And it could be Minnie actually coming back, trying to warn Jack or comfort Jack, but I don't think that's the case. A lot of people say that could be the case. I don't think it is. I think the devil's using her image to taunt Jack. Because it's rather obvious once we get into the movie about, what happened. Like, it was obvious from the get-go. Like, I knew it, going into this movie when it's like he sold his soul to the devil. I knew exactly where this was going, especially when they're like, she died of lung cancer, she wasn't a smoker. Oh yeah, bro, you definitely got your wife killed. I knew it, Jack knew it, but no one wanted to say it out loud. But we'll get there when we get there. A couple of more little fun facts, though. So, on the third day when this movie came out, it made $666,666. Well, the odds of that shit on the third day. And no one gets that reference. You do not know anything about The Conjuring, do you? But yeah, overall it made $2.2 million. And I'm very impressed with that, especially with the fact that it is streaming on I was about to say Netflix, Shudder, streaming on Shudder, which I love Shudder, by the way. I don't know if I say it enough, but I do. Shudder's got some great movies. They get some good movies, some really good ones that I absolutely adore. Again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. Would love it if I was, but the point is, I love Shudder. They got a lot of good horror movies. They got like a lot of good foreign horror movies, old horror movies, some newer ones. Like, they got a good choice, good selection. I absolutely adore them. Highly recommend it if you're a horror fan. I'm dropping stuff. But see. Yeah, so another little fun fact I noticed about this movie, and I don't know if it's necessarily a fun fact, but it's when the movie itself gets started. Do you remember that skit in Family Guy where Peter's going to watch a movie and he looks over, I think, at Brian, and it's just like, you never know when the movie's actually going to start. We got all those repetitive credits, and it's just like, man in the coat runs off, the boat express, stupid stuff like that. It started doing that in the movie. It started as the credits were going. I was just like, okay, there's Shudder. Okay, we like that one. Okay, there's that one. Recognize that one. Then it started getting some weird ass territories. I'm like, is this part of the movie? Is this a joke? Like, this is going on for a minute. There was like 2 minutes worth of opening credits, just of like title screens and stuff. And I was just like, what the hell? But I think I might have a solution to that. So this movie was made in cahoots with 3 different countries: Australia, America, and the UK. So that could explain why there are so many opening credits, basically, because of the fact that 3 different countries worked on this movie. So, there's a lot of hands in this pool. But with all that out the way, all that fun, fantasticness, why don't we go ahead and dive straight on into this movie, because it is such a fun movie. And again, guys, I highly recommend you watching the movie before we get into this, because I will be doing tons of spoilers, and I would like to, deep dive into a lot of these scenes and stuff. And, can't really deep dive into these scenes on the top of my head if I gotta worry about spoilers. No offense, guys. I get why people do the, non-spoilers reviews and non-spoiler stuff, but I can't do that. Not the way my brain thinks. I'm going to accidentally spill something, and I'd rather not ruin it for other people by accidentally doing something. So I just rather just wait a couple of days, let people test it out, then make a review about it. But let's go ahead and dive on in. So we got the opening of the movie. We're set on the actual stage of Late Night Owls, which is the name of the show that Jack runs. And we're zooming in on the TV, the very mockumentary style, and it's talking about, in 1970s, the craziness, the chaos. We're watching, like, protest, Reagan, I guess resigning or something. I don't know. He was there for a second. There's people going crazy. We got cultists, walking around, rituals coming up, and who's all there to witness this? Television. Television is there to witness this all. And also, television is there to make you feel comfortable. On April 4th of 1971, Night Owls starts with a good time. It starts with a good time. Jack's a lovable guy, very well liked. He's funny. He's got that classic, late night talk TV show thing going for him. And what's funny is that even from the get-go, he knows that everybody would rather be watching Johnny Carson. Late night with Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson was funny. And hell, even my buddy Bidwell at one point while we were watching was just like, yeah, these are the skits going on this. Yeah, no wonder he kept losing to Johnny Carson. I was just like, damn, bro, leave Jack alone. That man been through so much. But let me digress for a second. While I'm thinking about it, with this whole TV mockumentary, found footage style here, something I also keep in mind when viewing this movie is that this is a found footage movie. And the way it's shot, and the way they make it sound like anyway, that this particular episode went to air. Now, I don't know if it necessarily actually got there because of some other scenes that happened in the movie, but this is like the hard copy that we're watching. This is what would either went on air or should have went on air. I don't know if they actually did. And again, I'll get there when I get there. But we as the audience are watching this. We are part of this. They even talk about the group hypnosis thing and about how people at home were probably hypnotized. When we see shit that gets out of hand, we are the viewers who got hypnotized. So we got to keep that in mind, or at least that's what I keep in mind when I watch this movie. But like I said, I digress. We got Night Owls that premieres on April 4th of 1971. Can't seem to get over Johnny Carson, but he's, Jack's climbing to the top. He's doing what he's got to do. Throughout the whole year, his wife, beautiful wife, by the way, she's an actress on stage. She's gorgeous, his muse, the love of his life. She's always got his back. On November in 1972, he signs a 5-year deal contract. Now, why did I specifically write this down in my notes? Because I was doing some math here. 1972, 1977. That's exactly 5 years apart in October. So, this gets me thinking about the contract. Because of course, like I said, he signed a deal with the devil. The contract expired after this particular night. That is why shit hit the fan. Jack got exactly what he wanted, exactly when he needed it. But of course, the devil's got to play games with him, so he gets what he wants, which is, actually, to be honest, they don't tell you what Jack wants. You think about it. Yes, he wants to be number one. He wants to be number one. He wants to be number one late night talk TV show host. But yet, he can never get past Carson. And that's because I made the joke that Carson's contract was probably worded better. And I still hold that true. I believe Carson probably made a better deal. And this is why he was still number one. But that's just like a little side joke to myself. But with the 5 years, though, what did he have to give up? Because think about it. It's not until 1976 his wife gets sick. What the hell? His wife gets sick in 1976. Okay, that is well over 3 to 4 years after he signed the contract. The contract was in November. Yeah, about 4 years. And then that's when he had to pay the price. Why make him wait? And even still, it was a year after that the ratings started plummeting. A lot of people have been asking that. Now, let me cover the rest of this opening. We'll come back to that. So, put a pin on that. We'll come back to that. So, in 1972, like I said, he signed the 5-year deal. And somebody asked him, and in the background, you gotta listen to it carefully, but somebody says, what did you have to sacrifice to get here? What did he have to sacrifice to get there? That is when we're introduced to the fact that he hangs out with the Grove, the, Illuminati, I'm going to call it a cult. I know it's not necessarily a cult, but we're going to make things a little easier. We're going to call them a cult. The Grove is a cult to a degree. And the Secret Boys Club, even though I just said I'm going to call it a cult. You know what? Scratch that. We're not going to call it cult. I'm going to call it Secret Boys Club. It sounds so much cooler. See, the Secret Boys Club, he hangs out there where he did his supposed ritual to get his sacrifice ready for what's to come. And September 19th of 1976, that is when his wife is diagnosed with lung cancer. She doesn't smoke, but yet she gets lung cancer, which is a very aggressive cancer. And in October of that same year, she shows up on the show. And she talks about how they first met. And, it's very playful, very sweet. I was singing at this club. He came backstage and he was, blushing because of all the naked girls running around. And because of that blushing, I mean, why couldn't a woman fall in love with him? Just being so sappy and cute. And something I noticed here, too, is that he says the words, I love you, Minnie. I love you, Minnie. He says it. Yeah, I gotta pay attention, but he says, I love you, Minnie. He mouths that to her, and she goes, I love you, too. But, very cutesy little story. And then she dies, 2 weeks later. He goes into hiatus for, a month or so. We go all through November. We don't really see him much. In December, he comes back. And he's determined to make this better than ever. And no matter how far he goes, no matter what he does, he goes pure Jerry Springer. He's bringing in the drama. They're stirring up the pot and everything. They're trying to get people to come back and watch this show, and nothing's working. He cannot go any higher. He keeps falling. And then that is where we come in the night of Halloween night of 1977. 1 year later. He's still trying to climb. He's at the end of his contract. It's the start of Sweet Week, so it's technically the end of his contract with the studio. He's got a lot riding on this whole night. Now, I want to emphasize this because of the fact that I wanted to kind of hammer in how important this night is to him. Now, no matter what happens, it is happening because this is an important, like, if he does not get this contract, he's screwed. He's screwed. He's out of a job, he's out of a life, and I don't think he was signed on for either one. Let me explain. So, like I said, the 5-year contract that he signed, it didn't really come into fruition until his wife died. And that is when he technically got what he wanted. It became the highest rated episode, but just 1 point shy of Carson. And again, like I said, he made his own deal. Seriously, guys, don't read too much into that. That's literally an inside joke on myself, okay? Like, straight up, like, there's no mention of Carson having contracts with the devil or anything like that. I just like to make that joke because it just seems fitting. It really just seems fitting. The point is, this contract happened, you know? How did he get this highest rating? What did he have to sacrifice to get here? At first, nothing. All he had to do was do a ritual. And then Satan, the devil, Abraxas, whatever you want to call him. Which, by the way, Abraxas, real demon. Not really a demon. Okay, technically he is, but he isn't. See, he was originally like a higher primordial. That's how you say it. Primordial being. And then over the years, he just became known as a demon. And a lot of people apparently worship this man. Creature thing. And, yeah, no, he's a legitimate thing. The point is, all he had to do was do this ritual sacrifice. Now, most demons, devils, you know, they like to have their fun. You know, they don't just, it doesn't happen within a day or two. You know, they always take their time. You know, they sign the deal, they make you do the ritual thing, you know, you sing to the bird, you drink the chalice, you know, you do whatever, you bathe in the blood of the innocent, you know, however these little meetings happen. I don't know, I've never been to one. But the point I'm trying to make is, see, expectations, I changed that on you, didn't I? Anyway, he does the ritual. And then 4 years later, nearing the end of the contract, he gets what he wants. He gets exactly what he wants, which is the highest grossing episode ever. He's on top of the world. But what did that cost him? Oh, only his wife. No biggie. You know, his wife had to die. And then, of course, because the devil gave him exactly what he wanted, there's no more to the contract. To a degree. There's like, he gave him what he wanted. Okay, you want to be number one? Boom, there you go. But I'm still behind Carson. Take that over Carson. Still number one, though. So why did it start declining after he came back? Well, that is because the devil's just toying with him. Like I said, the contract is done. The devil did his end of the bargain. Jack did his end of the bargain, did the ritual. Now we're waiting on just the contract itself to be done. I don't think the devil really wants him back. I think if maybe he could have got past Carson, maybe the devil would have been a lot more nicer and been like, yeah, bro, let's sit down and talk about this. You want to redo this contract up? But there's a little thing that goes on throughout this movie where there's certain, like, executive producers or somebody who wants to talk to Jack, but because of circumstances happening on the show, he can't talk to these people. And these are important, like, I guess, studio people. So I feel like, you know, something would have been done and or made, and especially with some of the audience members looking rather suspicious themselves, I'm pretty sure they were cult members in disguise. Like, a lot of people want to say it's the devil in disguise. I think it's the cult members. The skeleton, the devil guy, there's 3 people up front I noticed that were very stoic and creepy. There's a couple of people, I think, to the right that I saw. But there's a handful of audience members that just look out of place. They look like they belong, but they also don't look like they belong because it's just the costumes and they're the manners that they are holding themselves up. Like the skeleton guy, he doesn't really move at all. I think I saw him slightly laugh a little bit when Jack made that joke. I'm just ribbing you, man. I think you saw him chuckle a little bit on the inside, but that could have been the way he was breathing for all I know. But we get to the contract, or to the end of the contract. Now there is a bit of a full circle involved here. Now, the devil, if he can kill two birds with one stone, he will. And he can, especially giving the particular night in question that the contract runs out. Anyone else find it freaking suspicious as hell that our lovely Lily, when she was in her Abraxas state, Abraxas took over, not Mr. Wriggles, Abraxas. And June doesn't know who Abraxas is, by the way. I don't think he ever actually gave his name to them. I'm just assuming this is who it is because she says, you're not Mr. Wriggles, or because she asked to speak to him and he doesn't say anything. I'm assuming, okay, definitely not Mr. Wriggles. It is Abraxas, but we don't know it's him. But I'm going to say it's him. But anyway, Abraxas tries to talk about Jack to June. She just keeps calling Jack's name, Jack, calling him over and over again. And she's very excited and giddy about that. Now, why would the devil be excited and giddy to meet a man that, he's already met before? Unless, well, he's about to get one hell of a good show. And, also to a degree, I think the devil's trying to one-up himself as well because, yeah, he made him number one when he lost his wife, but now it's time to make him number one of all time. Now, the reason why I don't know for a fact that he made number one is because it's never mentioned whether or not he passed Johnny Carson. We don't know this. We really don't know. That's why I say maybe the devil originally fulfilled his deal. Or let me not say thought he fulfilled his deal, but originally fulfilled his deal back with his wife and being just 1 point shy. But coming back into, let me retrain my thought here. Coming back with him. Hey, I'm thinking here. I'm now questioning myself. No, I'm still sitting firm on this. I feel like the devil was basically fucking with him by the end. The devil was fucking with him. And he's just like, okay, you really want to be number one. You really want to be number one. You really want to be the top game. You want to beat Johnny Carson. Do me one more favor. And this is what I'm talking about with the full circle here. So I was second guessing myself. I was just like, am I making sense here? Or am I just like talking in circles here? But no, it still makes sense to me. So like I said, White passes away, number one, then suddenly he starts falling. That's the devil fucking with him. And now the devil is just like, let me one up myself. You want to be number one, Jack? How far number one are you willing to sacrifice to become number one? How far are you willing to go to be number one? I mean, you already sacrificed your wife. What are you willing to do? Full circle moment right here. So, we know Lily, the precious little soul she is. We know Lily was part of the occult, the actual occultists now, not the Illuminati group. Not the boys club, but an actual cult that worship Abraxas. She was part of this cult. And I'm going to say it, and I'm surprised no one has been making a mention of this, she was probably one of the children that was bred for sacrifice. I'm just going to say, they made a mention about that in the movie, that the children were born to be sacrificed to Abraxas. So this is where the full circle comes around. All right, Jack, you want to be number one? You want to be the top dog? Kill her. Fulfill the sacrifice requirement. Kill her. This is why at the end of the movie, he winds up killing Lily. Even though it's a hallucination and we're all, tweaking out, I think that is why it ends with him killing Lily. Because at the end of the movie, I noticed something that was really, really cool. Was in the corner, it says in transmission. at one point it flickers and it says, "So it is done." Now this is what I mean by a full circle. Now he signs the contract. He fights his way to the top, can't get to the top. Wife gets sick. He gets kind of close to the top. He gets number one, and Johnny Carson wasn't there. And the devil's like, "All right, well, I'm bored now. Go away." "Well, actually, no, I can still have a little fun here." "All right, man, you still want to be number one? You still want to be on top? Got a little bit of this contract left, and I see that you're a tough fighter. Let's go round two. Let's go round two and see how much you're willing to bet." And he showed up to collect. The devil showed up to collect. The devil actually showed up and was just like, Hi, Johnny. How's it going? I'm sorry, not Johnny. Sorry, wrong talk show. Hi, Jack. How's it going, man? How's it be? How has it been? Haven't seen you since the Tall Tree episode. Now, that doesn't make any sense. I'll try my best the more we get into the movie to explain it, but that's literally how I see this. It's literally a full circle. Like, it's all connected. Like, the devil was waiting for this moment, for this time, and Jack had to make one more sacrifice. Not just one sacrifice, because one sacrifice only got him kind of there. He needed to kill multiple people to get to be number one. All right, let me rephrase that. He needed to kill one person who in turn killed multiple people to get number one. And what else did he have to do? Well, let's continue on. So, we come into Halloween night of 1977. We're looking at the master tapes. This is what should have been on air with the behind the scene footage cut in. This is a real live event. Enjoy the show. Then we cut in. We start with a fantastic classic opening. I absolutely loved it because this was that moment that made me really feel like a 1970s talk show. I just watching late night TV talk shows in general. He does the Happy Halloween kind of opening. They're like, "All right, Jack, where are you? Jack, come on out." Jack, and everybody's in costumes. You got the live music and all this, and then Jack, of course, comes out behind him in like a little ghost sheet and scares his buddy Gus. They all have a good laugh. We laugh, the audience laugh, Gus's laugh. It's all a good time. It's classic talk show right here. So once we get in, we have the typical setup. We have our casual opener conversations. Has anybody seen baseball? Who's a fan of this? Oh, well, so-and-so is going to be Mr. October. Let's just hope he keeps swinging in those home runs, making jokes like that. And then, of course, there's a joke on Jimmy Carter about fixing not the Congress people, but the House election hands, or what's that word called? House legislators or something like that. I don't know. But basically, that has to do with his brother Billy. And him being in charge of either FBI or the CIA. And Jack makes the joke. Yeah, he turned it down because he didn't want to work on any division he couldn't spell over. Like, classic, political, cute humor, fun stuff, very fun stuff. But after that, he talks about, what's coming up on the show, about the singer coming up. We got the, people, coming in on the stage, the parade and all that. Yeah, they're talking about doing a costume parade, which I don't think we ever saw. A little mad about that, but okay. Oh yeah, he talks about, what's coming up on the show, and then he talks about how important this week is, because it's Sweeps Week. For those of y'all who don't know what Sweeps Week is, it's basically a week that's very important to a lot of television, especially talk shows, and, kind of on live show, broadcast kind of shows, where, people determine whether or not they want to renew you for another season. And some weeks are better than others, and unfortunately, if you mess up that week, you could be getting your contract cut. But he lets you know that he really wants your support on this, because without you guys, you as the audience, he wouldn't be here. He shows you how humble he is. And of course, people love him. People adore him. There's one chick that's like, "Oh, we love you, Jack." Like, straight up, she screams that out. And he's just like, get this bitch a car or some bullshit like that. Like some Oprah Winfrey thing. But, you know, he kind of shows you the humbleness, you know, the very soft nature vibe of him. And you get that throughout this entire movie. He is quite humble, but he's very cunning at the same time. I mean, more cunning, and all he cares about is the ratings. That's all he cares about. Like, his reaction are his real reactions, and he's very humble and stuff, but he is cutthroat when it comes to the ratings. Like, he don't care what he puts on the show as long as it gets in the ratings. But I do like this though, because, you know, it just shows you how much he actually cares about his show, and how he wants you as the audience to watch this show, and how he wants his, you know, the viewers at home to watch it and everything. And I can get it. So then we have, you know, our first guest star, you know, which is Christo. And he, of course, is the classic ghost whisperer type of guy. You know, comes in, you know, oh, I'm sensing somebody named Elizabeth, Beth, Beverly, you know, something like this. You know, oh, you, sir, yes, you. You know, he's one of those guys. And like I said earlier, it's one of those, do we believe him? Do we not believe him? Because this guy that he picks up on, you know, Peterman. He picks up on Peterman. And the guy is just a haggler that was apparently planted there by Leo, the producer of the show, working with Jack. And granted, it's funny. It's like fucking hilarious because there's like a whole like jip back and forth. He's just like, Peterman, yeah, that's my wife's surname. Oh, she is here with us. What do you mean she's here with us? She has passed. Well, that's a little weird to hear. Speaking since she left me for my neighbor 5 years ago. Oh, really now? Yep, but my golf swing's never been better. You know, it kind of reminded me of Grunkle Stan. That's where I knew that joke from. It was Grunkle Stan. Oh, but my golf swing hasn't been I knew I recognized that joke. I'm sorry, the Grunkle Stan's from Gravity Falls. But, you know, the dude's a haggler. He's going back and forth, making some witty remarks. You know, he's just like, did you have anybody known as, like, Beverly? No, my name's Barry, though. I mean, not you. You know, well, it's been my name for the last like, 40 years or so. Okay, you know what? It's gone, bro. It's gone. You know, the message crossed. And then he does the typical line these psychic mediums do. Just, you know how it is. You know, the stage lights, the sound effects, the boom mics and stuff. You know, crossover. You know, unbelievable. So he keeps going. And then he meets a mother and a daughter. And he's like, hello, ladies. Good evening. And he sits down. And he starts talking to him, and, you know, you find out that, you know, they had a brother named Edmund who passed away tragically. I'm not going to say how, because YouTube doesn't like that, but it starts with a and ends with a but, you know, if you weren't there, you weren't there for that conversation. If you don't know, ask me in the comments down below, and I will be gladly to explain why I call it anyway. Why they're chit-chatting, you know, he's just like, he wants you to know that he's sorry, he loves you, and they're like, oh, we didn't know he was in so much pain, you know, and he says something about Poppy, not Poppy, damn, I got Poppy Playtime so stuck in my head, Papa, and, you know, the little girl's just like, you know, it was always Dad, you know, it was never Papa, and that's when Mom just goes, Papa was the name of his bear that he had since he was a kid. I kept all his things. Tell him Papa's okay. He already knows. And of course everybody starts crying. Fucking Jack's over there like, oh my God, I'm impressed with this. Like, wow. You know, we're all just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And even I'm just like, not bad, man, not bad. Like, seriously, how did you know about the Papa thing? And granted, they say that the woman that was with him helped questionnaire them, but I don't know if that would be a type of question on the questionnaire. You know, how did your child die? Did your child do this? Did it have any special toys? I don't think that's how that works. I think when it comes to the questionnaires, it's just simple. You know, have you had someone die in the last like 5 years or so? But, I don't write these questions, okay? So I don't know what's on this questionnaire. But the point is, they connect. There's a moment there. We're all crying. Very sad. And then, of course, Jack's like, all right, yeah, the great performance, man, great performance. Now, we're showing his tour dates right here on the screen. Now, coming up, and as soon as he starts saying this, Christo starts like, oh my God, I'm getting a message, like, and he's like aggressive about, like, he's grabbing his head, he's like throbbing, about to collapse over, and he's just like, hey, what's going on? It's a message from Minnie, it's from Minnie, and they're like, do you mean like a Mandy, a Molly, a Mandarin, what are we going on about? And he's like, no, it's from Minnie, it's from Minnie. Does someone want to take this message? And of course, Jack's standing there like, the hell? The hell? Just, that's all he can mustered up in that look. Just the hell. And then eventually he starts giving a little bit more detail. He says, I see a wedding ring. An unmarried man. And that's when Jack's just like, huh, that sounds familiar. And before anybody can react or do anything, I kid you not. He screams, his eyes roll in the back of his head, the lights flicker, flash, and sparkle down, and then he collapses to the ground when it goes dark. And then, of course, Jack runs down there, the lights come back up, and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? Can we get a doctor? Oh my God, like, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. The message is just, it's gone. The message is gone. And Jack, of course, confused as ever, and just like looks into the camera, and he's just like, and after that wonderful performance, we'll be right back after these messages. And then, of course, we cut, and everyone's just like, hey man, you all right? Like, everybody's shocked about this, and but nobody knows that's part of the show or not. So, they pick him up, hey man, you alright? You need some water or anything? And, of course, Christo's just like, yeah, I'd like some water, please. Because he's starting not to look so good. He's starting to look a little worse than where, if I might add. He's sweating a lot. He's, he's coughing a lot. There's weird shit's going on with him. And, of course, there's this funny line where he's just like, you want some water? Water in this place? Did we get some brandy? I'll see what I can do. And that's from Leo, by the way, the producer of the show. But, after they, sit him down, ask him to stay a little bit longer, Gus pulls Jack aside, and he's just like, what the hell's going on? The crew's kind of freaked out back there, especially that there's some changes to the script. Like, there's a dagger and everything. Like, what's going on, man? And he's just like, hey, man, everything's cool. We're all right. The show's going all right. Get the costume and wardrobe. We got this, man. It's all cool. And then, of course, Leo shows up, makes that joke to Christo about the water, and, tells him to wipe his nose because his nose is bleeding. They walk off. And this week, you get a little fun behind-the-scenes thing where you find out that neither one of them did anything with the lights. It wasn't them, but Leo's like, if you want me to take credit for it, I'll take credit for it. But yeah, it was me. But it wasn't him. So, real message from the devil? Because, again, I think the devil's using Minnie as a toy to taunt our dear friend Jack. I don't think Minnie's actually here. I think it's just a facade put on by the devil because he's just a cruel trickster. You gotta love the devil, though. You gotta love him. Abraxas seems like a fun dude at parties. I'm not gonna lie. Granted, you won't see me try to summon him for any kind of parties, but if I happen to be at a party with him there, I'm willing to take a look. As long as I'm not part of the show, I'm willing to take a look. But now when things start getting weird, we get like H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu shenanigans going on, that is when I'm walking away. That is a step too far. I'm sorry. Have you seen some of the movies with Cthulhu? There's a lot of sex and tentacles involved, okay? I'm not that big into hentai. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I said it, and I don't take it back. No. Point is, I'll have a drink with Abraxas. Anything else? Nuh-uh. But, because of, anyway, I digress. Because of the whole, light thing, no one knows what's really going on. They're just kind of brushing it off like, yeah, whatever, it was just part of the show. And they talk about Barry, about how he was a plant, and he's just like, bro, why are you doing this? Hey, man, it's all about the ratings. It'll be okay. No pressure, relax. And then he, kind of lets him know that, these TV executives want to talk to him, but wait till after the next commercial break. Because, Jack's like, I'm trying to run a freaking cynical TV show here, okay? Like, I don't have time to talk to these people. Well, you're going to make time, buddy. You're going to make time. And then we come back from break. Everybody sits down. We're just like, okay, man, you're cool. I'm cool. Let's go. Next guest. We got Carmichael the Skeptic coming out. Now, again, he's supposed to be based off an actual magician. I cannot think of his name, and I feel like an idiot. And I should have Googled this, but I am too pig-headed to Google this because I'm determined to know this. It's on the tip of my tongue. I want to say it starts with an R. I could be wrong, but anyway, I digress. He is a well-known magician, Carmichael is, and he does a lot of cool tricks. Of course, the typical parlor trick. As soon as he sits down, he's like, do you mind if I smoke? Well, of course. And then, of course, he magically pulls out a cigar, and then makes it disappear, and then makes it come back. And then, he sticks it in his mouth. And Jack's like, holy shit, I'm sitting right here, guys. And I can't explain any of this. And then, of course, he lights the cigarette with a mysterious flame, and, calls it the day. And everyone else is like, oh, my God, these mind tricks. I'm over here like, the lighter was clearly behind his hand, bro. Like, I know this trick. Quit lying to me. But they end up talking a little bit about Carmichael and about how he was the first magician to do group hypnosis. And it was the first of its kind, very mind-boggling. Hang on, I'm trying to adjust my dog again. Yeah. Corky, are you going to sit down, buddy? Hey, he's just like, no, don't mind me. Just keep reading. But, like I said, he's good in these group hypnosis. He's, does a lot of magic tricks, magic shows in Las Vegas. And then eventually he hung up the wand and he became part of IFCA. I'm not going to try to pronounce the IFCA, but it is an acronym for, like, we are assholes who like to prove that supernatural existence do not exist. End of discussion. Like, seriously, like, they have a stupid, long-ass name. I'm not even gonna lie. But, of course, he talks about that a little bit, and about how they're trying to figure out what is real paranormal activity and what's not. Then they make a little jab at the Warrens. I went to the Amityville house. I invited the Warrens, but they didn't show, too afraid of a show. And I kind of like that reference because the fact that they were assholes like that when the Warrens were investigating. They're just like, oh, you're not really, a psychic medium. You're just swindling these people. You're this or that. Listen, buddy. Listen, I could believe that. Like, honestly, 100 to God, let me go on a tangent for a second. I could believe the Warrens are these types of swindlers if they weren't taking the cursed objects home and having a priest bless them twice a month. That's an actual fact. That was a real thing they did. They had an actual priest come in twice a month and bless that freaking room. Now, I get it, oh, well, they're doing it for a museum. They didn't even allow people to touch things in that museum. They didn't let them go in there unsupervised. Like, and I think after a while, they stopped the tours because people were tormenting Annabelle. And I'm sorry. That's another thing right there. There's proof that people have been affected by these cursed objects. And yet you want to denounce what these people can do, even though there's all this proof and study and phenomenal and video evidence and photographic evidence. But no. Let's pretend that they're all liars. That this is just a whole scheme to get money. And I get it, the Anvil House is very controversial. I have a theory about that. Maybe I'll dive into that one of these days, because I would love to actually talk to people about that, about my theories when it comes to the Anvil Horror House, because I believe it was haunted. And, whatever Ronnie did in that house really fucked him up and got his family killed and did something to that house, and the Lutz were haunted. But that's a story for another podcast for another day, and I would be thrilled to actually talk about that. Seriously, I would. Maybe in the future, though. We'll keep that in mind in the future. But yeah, I like that little jab. I like that little nod and reference because there were guys like that in real life. And then, of course, you know, he brings out the check for $100,000 to prove to, or not prove, but the $100,000 check to anyone who can prove that this paranormal phenomenon is real. And of course, Christo's just like, I don't need your money. You know, and he's just like, oh yeah, I bet you don't. You swindle these people because they're fools and you're an idiot. You're a liar. You know the difference between you and me? At least I'm honest. You know, they really get into a heated argument. And it gets to the point that, you know, Christo, you know, gets up, grabs a glass of water, throws it in Carmichael's face, which I was like, go you, man. Like, have a real girl boss moment. He goes to walk off, storm off the set, actually. Can't storm off. And Jack's like, hang on, man. Yeah, I need to talk to you. You know, I got one more question. And Carmichael's like, you know what? I actually can write out a check for $1 million now that you cannot do this again. And then, of course, you know, Jack, you know, tells him to shut up. He's just like, dude, knock it off. The last message, right, is from Minnie. Of course, yes. Guys, I got a confession to make. I think that message was from me. Who is this Minnie? Who's Minnie? Minnie was my private nickname for my wife. And I was like, I fucking knew it. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I called that shit a mile away. Like, I looked at Eric as soon as they're like, that's a message from Minnie, married man, you know, no wedding ring, unmarried man. I was just like, I'm talking to Jack. Jack, answer the phone, man. Answer the fucking phone. But no, let's ignore it. Let's ignore it because we don't want to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, we got our wife killed. For what? For this price of fame. Like, think about that. Like, I would not want to acknowledge that shit either. But you know what? That is why the devil's toying with him, by the way, with his wife. He's just like, hey, man, remember, you sacrificed your wife for this. You're about to sacrifice a lot more. Your sanity, a couple of, you know, a small child. You know, don't worry about that. But remember, your wife, though. Yeah, haha. Like, seriously, the devil's a jackass. Devil's just a jackass. Anyway, after the argument, and, yeah, because there's more arguments after the fact that, you know, he's like, that message was from me, from my wife. And, of course, Carmichael's like, oh, Jack, don't ham this up, man. You know, here's that check for $1 million. If he can actually summon your wife right now, I will give it to him. And as he's about to, you know, make a comment to Christo starts, you know, starts like regurgitating, and everyone's like, what the fuck? You know, they're all backing up. And then he starts vomiting black goo out of his mouth, projectile vomit. It gets on Carmichael, it gets on the carpet, it gets on the camera. And, you know, of course, you know, Jack's like, cut to commercial, you know. And we'll be right back. Station difficulties, you know, kind of one of those situations. So it cuts to the behind the scenes thing. And, of course, a woman runs out, and she's like, oh, my God, are you okay? And he's just like, something is not right. And he's, like, trying to, like, I guess, not vomit more. Carmichael's no freaking help whatsoever, by the way. Like, this freaking jackass. Like, it was rather obvious something was wrong with this man to begin with, because, you know, as they were trying to dry his sweat off, he aggressively attacked the makeup chick by grabbing her hand and telling her to go away. You know, he was choking at one point, trying to explain, you know, what his powers are, because when Carmichael's like, all right, explain to me, explain what your powers can do, and he's, you know, as he's trying to explain it, he's like, you know, trying to, you know, breathe, and he can't, so he's got to down some water, and he downs the whole glass, by the way, a whole glass, and, you know, it's still nothing, and yet, he starts vomiting black goo, and Carmichael thinks it's a freaking joke. He literally thinks it's a joke. He thinks this whole thing is staged because he's that type of skeptic. That after, you know, they, you know, get a doctor involved, you know, take care of Christo and take him off stage, Carmichael just goes, you know, this coat was a gift, right? Go get my red velvet one, and hands it off to a little assistant, and he looks at Jack, and he's just like, real smooth, Jack, real smooth. What are you talking about, Carmichael? The fact that you want me to believe he's psychic, I mean, how else do you explain this whole mini thing? Like, I mean, very bravo, man. You know, I get you trying to get your ratings up, but come on, you gonna stoop like that? And he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it was mini. Yeah, sure it was. So we got three scenarios here. We got three scenarios. One, he's actually psychic, and we both know that's complete bullshit. Number two, he knows information because he watches the news, and your wife's death wasn't quite a secret. Three, you told him. Do you really think I would do that? Oh, yeah, I think you do just about anything. I'm just surprised you haven't asked your friends at the Grove to help you out, you know. But I just gotta know. Is it true what they say that goes on in there? You know, the rituals, the orgies, the good food. Mainly I want to know about the orgies. And Jack at this point just fed the hell up with him. And he's just like, get away from me. Just get the hell away from me. He gets next to Leo and he's just like, I told you not to leave me alone with that asshole. And even I gotta agree with him on that. Cause that was some uncalled for. But it's like, talk about the Grove? Man, you don't talk about the secret boys club like that. At least that not much of a secret as you tell the world. Especially if you're asking about information. Like, he wants to be in the boys club, too. That's the sad part. He's just like, Jack, you gonna give me a table at the boys club, right? Like, after this night, hell no. Fuck you. I think that's why Praxis does what he does. We'll get there when we get there, though. But after, you know, he gets away from Carmichael, Leo tells him, hey, man, the light boards are switching up. Not in a bad way. There's people who are angry and confused and worried, but they're not pissed. And he's like, that's a good sign. That's great. The viewers are coming in. This is fantastic. Hey, man, do I still need to talk to those people? Well, circumstances happening. No, you don't need to worry about them. We'll do next commercial break, okay? Next commercial break. Okay, yeah. So, of course, as he's about to walk off, he gets told that the crew is... no, I'm sorry. He don't get told, but we as the audience kind of get told by the camera people that something's going on during the set. And this is why I'm saying this may not have went to air. Because you can hear somebody over the headset saying they're getting some weird shit happening on the screen. They're not elaborating about what's going on. They're just like, something's going on down there, and you hear the TV guy come back and just go, no, everything's fine on here. Just switch the cameras like normal. Everything should be good. So I don't know if they're picking up something we're not seeing, or if they're talking about the glitches we are seeing, you know, the flickers and stuff, or if they're talking about some other catastrophe that we as the audience are not seeing. I don't know. But I thought this was kind of funny too. So as Jack's coming back and we hear that over the about the TV cameras acting up, Jack goes to sit down and he just goes, whoops, not my chair, and he gets up and goes to the next chair. The countdown, we're back. He tells the viewers, you know, thank you for all your calls and considerations. He's fine. We got the doctors checking them out in the back. It's all good. Let's just go on with the show. And, of course, you know, Carmichael's just like, he'll be all right. You know, he's just a little Votrick, you know, regurgitation, control regurgitation. It's all cool. It's all right. You know, don't mind him. And, of course, Jack makes a joke about, well, you know, don't tell that to your dry cleaners then. You know, because he got the black goo all over his ass. I wish it was in his face, though. But, you know, on his coat, ruining his coat makes my day. But as they're about to talk about, you know, the next segment, you hear sirens in the back. And everything gets awkwardly quiet for a second. Like, everybody. Jack, Carmichael, us as the audience. We just hear the woo. Yeah, we just hear that shit. And we're just like, I don't think he's going to be okay. But we don't know anything until later. So after that, he goes, so our next guest, I don't know how to explain this, but a manuscript came over my desk a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't been able to get it out of my head ever since. He pulls out the book, and it's a conversation with the devil. Now, here's something that came across my mind. From a lot of the interactions between him and June that we see from, I think right before we went let me phrase this. We see a glimpse of her as he's getting ready to sit down before he goes, whoops, not my chair. We see a glimpse of her waiting at the door, and of course the door closes before he could talk to her, and he's got to go sit back down on the set. But there's some other scenes with her, and there's some heavy flirtation, more in movements than in words. But he is more encouraging than a lot of other people are, but it's mainly because of his ratings. Like, he's sitting over here just like, you need to prove to these people that what you're doing is not a farce, that is actually true. And what he's really saying is, entertain these people for my views. I need the views. I need the views. Yeah, you gotta understand this kind of lingo, you know? But you see that there's some kind of attraction between them. It's actually made a mention, especially from Lily's character, that something has definitely been there. So, before they bring out Lily and June, he's like, let's me show you a little documentary that they cooked up back there so you can understand a little bit more about the situation. And we learn a little bit about the cult. It's the first church of Abraxas. Their leader is named Diablo, which I find funny because conveniently I've been watching that one time I got reincarnated as a slime, and there's a badass character named Diablo. He's like a primordial demon or something like that. Fucking badass, I'm not gonna lie. But he's being interviewed by somebody, and the way he describes it is, Abraxas shows us there's no good, there's no evil, there's no redemption, and what we... Hang on a second. Corky, could you get comfortable? Your tail is all up in my way. Let me start that over. I'm sorry about this, guys. I got a little quirky here. For those of y'all who can't see and are listening on Spotify, it's my boyfriend's dad's dog. He's a little chihuahua, like a full-blooded, like almost like a teacup chihuahua over here. He's adorable, but he's old, and he is just impatiently waiting for Eric to come home because Eric has more body heat than me. That's all I am. That's all I am to you, huh, Corky? Just a pillow. Just a free pillow. Granted, though, now I know how everybody else feels when I walk in the room and Maxie just dips out. So this is how this feels. Anyway, let me start that sentence over again. He says, there is no good, there is no evil, there is no redemption, and what we desire and how we get it is how it is made. But the master demands a sacrifice. That makes sense. Abraxas is not a good nor evil demon, and he's trying to show the people there is no good, there is no evil, there is just Abraxas. And a lot of demons and gods, and especially eldritch gods and Greek gods, and a lot of gods in life. You know, there's a lot of beings out there in the world that had this intense desire to be like, no, only worship me, my lords. Just only me. Just only me. There's no good, there's no evil, there's no redemption. The only thing we have is what we desire and how we get it. And that's simple. That's a very simple premise with him. Just, what do you want and what are you willing to pay for it? It's like a money demon, like a loan shark, but for demons, like a demon shark. No, that was a stupid movie. Loan demon, there we go, that's a new one. Loan demon. He's a loan demon. You loan him your soul, he's gonna loan you whatever you want, and then you just gonna have to keep paying him over and over again until he's completely satisfied, or you're drained and dead. One of the two. Mainly it's the second one, the second option, but anyway. You find now that in this cult, they breed the children to be killed for Abraxas. And during an FBI raid, there was a 3-day shootout. And it all ended with Diablo telling his little cultists, hey, let's just burn everything to the ground, including ourselves. So they set themselves on fire, killing everyone but a small 10-year-old child named Lily. So, Lily, I think about 12, 13 now at this point. So it's been about 2-3 years since, this whole instance. And as she is living, She lives with June because June and her made such a wonderful connection when they met. The first time they ever met, it was so nice. They even show you the first recording too. She's like, I'm June so and so. This is my first recording with Lily. Lily, how you doing? And then Lily just growls at her and tries to attack her. Wonderful relationship they got going on. Wonderful relationship. But you learn that they actually do have a bond. I say that with air quotes because there's a moment in the movie. There's a moment in the movie that makes me question their relationship. And it's something she says to Carmichael, and she's like, me and Lily are like family. And she goes to grab Lily's hand, and Lily, you can see, she's still staring at the camera because Lily's just freaking creepy like that. But she takes her hand away. Like, no, you mean nothing to me. You're nothing to me. And I believe that. I believe June is no more than a catalyst to get to this point right here. Think about it. Should be about 2 or 3 years at this point. What else was set in motion 2 or 3 years prior towards this? Oh, would you look at that? According to my notes, it was the wife's death. This is, again, the full circle thing, the contract. We're rounding up to the end of the contract here. Because I want to say she's 13. So, yeah, it's been about 3 years. I don't know if she's recently turned 13 or she's about to be 13. But they're saying she's 13 in the movie. So, yeah, it's been about roughly 3 years. And around that marker started, she survived the occult thing, then gets sacrificed, and then suddenly the wife comes ill, and then Jack's whole thing starts playing out the way it is played out. And I do believe that the common practice when it comes to demons, contracts, and stuff, as stupid as that sounds, there's always a method to their madness. Like I said, they don't just, all right, deal's done. There you go, magic and riches. They ain't like Genie from Aladdin over here. It takes time and effort, and sometimes they're killing more than one stone, or they're killing more than one bird with one stone. They're doing multiple tasks, having like a chain and domino effect. So basically, they're like puppet masters. They keep their hands clean, but other people are doing their dirty work for them. But anyway, after the live session tape, they come in and they're like, all right, let's bring out June and Lily. And of course, June comes out, just so beautiful, Jack, to see you, Jack. She goes, come on, Lily, come on out. And Lily comes out all cutesy, very childlike, the big ass smile on her face. She's just holding her little skirt, part of her dress or whatever. And she's like a little curtsy. And of course, the camera flickers because, bad shit's about to happen. And she walks over, sits down. Everyone, it's good to meet you. And she does this really good job about, like I said, about being cutesy and then being freaky. Because she'll be like I said, she came out all cutesy, let me curtsy to the TV, the camera and all that. And she comes down and sits down. And then she's just like, it's good to see you, Jack. And I don't mean like in the creepy demonic voice like we heard in the trailer. I'm just like just having a casual conversation. Like her voice went from 12 years old to 32. She did that number. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, this acting chops on this girl. Fantastic. But after they get to know the little girl a little bit. Lily's like, I'm so excited to be here. June says that Jack's handsome, and I have to agree that, June's right. And like, oh, well, that's so sweet. June thinks I'm handsome. Yeah. And he of course, he's got to ask. So, have you ever watched my show before? No, I'm usually in bed. This is where the whole Jack's handsome comment comes in at. Which also gets you wondering, was there a relationship going on beforehand? But anyway, as they sit there and chit chatting and everything. She doesn't know who Jack is, but she heard about his wife and that she was very sorry for him. And then right before they cut to a commercial, because they're just like, baby, he don't want to talk about his wife. Oh no, it's okay. Don't worry about your TV show, Jack. You'll be very famous soon enough. And she says that in such the creepy ass show. Not the cutesy girly tone. No, that 32-year-old voice drop that she had. She said it just like that. Just don't worry about it. And of course Jack's, like, I was worried about my show too, huh, Gus? Thank God we don't have to worry about that. yeah, let's, we'll come back and get to know these two young ladies a little bit more right after this commercial break. And then of course, be right back. And Lily starts being so silly. Just, oh my God, Jack, how was that? Am I looking at the right camera? Which camera am I supposed to be looking at? Well, no camera right now. We're off the air. And, they start doing her makeup. And he's like, all right, let's get you girls back being pretty. And then in his wise voice now, she turns and looks at Jack. And it's just like, but aren't I already pretty, Jack? And he turns around and is like, what? And she's just, back to that cutesy 12-year-old again. And it's just like, that bitch is psychotic. She definitely got some demons in her for sure. She got some real demons in her. And it kind of freaks everybody out. Freaks me out, freaks Jack out. And, he walks out. And June pulls him aside. And it's just like, Jack, listen, I don't think we should bring him out. Like, she's been acting weird, and it's weirder. It's just weird, man. It's weird for her, even on her standards and levels of weirdness. It is weird. And he's like, well, how is it weird? Well, she was calling you, in one of our sessions. She was actually calling for you, and she seemed excited, like she knew who you were. Well, she's just excited about the show. Jack, I'm worried about this. I don't think this is a good idea. And he, of course, he downplays this, and he's just like, no, I'll be okay. You need to show the world that it's not a joke. This is real. People don't take you serious, and they need to take you serious. And, she's just like, this is not okay, Jack. Like, seriously, think about this before we do anything. And then of course, she walks off. And I think Leo then comes up and talks to him. And you find out Christo died. He didn't make it. He died on his way to the hospital because he bled out from every orifice he had. Think about that. Every orifice. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different holes. That's just on the outer surface. That's not counting the inner body workings over here. He bled out though. And of course, Jack and Leo are just like, oh shit, well, don't tell anybody, the crews are already a little skittish and everything, especially don't tell Gus, because Gus, oh my God, he would definitely freak out. And then, of course, we cut back to the camera people, and they're still getting complaints from somebody upstairs that something's going on with the cameras, and he's just like, I'm seeing nothing down here, just keep rolling, okay? And then, of course, we then see Carmichael asking the ladies from earlier in the movie whether, anyone asked them any questions before they got into the show or anything like that. And they're like, yeah, the woman who helped him up, took him backstage to the doctor was asking us questions. I see. So again, it makes you, wonder what's going on. Did we actually see him speak to, these people, or was it just a coincidence that the devil just happened to use this man to start taunting Jack? And then, of course, he sits down. Lily looks at him and goes, are you okay, Jack? Yeah, no, I'm fine. And we're back. And 3, 2, and then we cut to the conversation between June and Jack. He's asking her about her profession, and of course Carmichael's being a douche this entire time, like, oh, you mean her fake degree at the fake college? And she's just like, if he's gonna keep interrupting me and being a jackass, I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna stand for this. And Jack's just like, all right, Carmichael, shut it. You had your 5 minutes of fame. Let her have hers. But you find out, she actually went to a freaking school for this, which I need to know, is this a real thing? Because if I could get into the study of the paranormal psychology, I would love to do that. That is something I would absolutely love to do. As a, if I was going for a college degree, that would be it. It would be a stupid fucking field because no one would be hiring except Ghost Adventure shows. But you know what? I'm willing to do that. I have studies. I would like to study ghost, phenomenal, folklore, mythology. I would love to do that for a living and make money off of it. That would be cool. That would be sweet. I'm not gonna lie. But we all know, for one, that's money I don't have. And two, is there really a school for this? If there is, please let me know. I would definitely check into it. Granted, I probably wouldn't be able to go because it'd be like out of state or something. But, it'd be fun to dream. Fun to fantasize. But they talk a little bit about Lily's case, though, and she says that she don't think that Abraxas is in Lily. She thinks that Mr. Wriggles is just one of his minions. One of his mini people in charge kind of scenarios. And then, of course, they bring out these props that survived the house fire when the FBI raided the cult's house. And of course they had the sacrificial dagger that was used, a couple of skull pieces, some books and stuff. And of course Carmichael makes a joke with the dagger. He picks it up and he starts like trying to fight himself with it. And he's like, turn away right now before Abraxas claims you all. Come on, June, quit messing around. Just like doing that shit like a freaking jackass. Like, this man's so pompous, it's not even funny. Actually, no, it is quite funny. I'm not gonna lie. It's quite funny, but still. Then they start, talking about Mr. Wiggles, or Wriggles. And, of course, right as they bring him up, a little information about him, the Thurman that we brought in earlier, which I forgot to make a mention about this earlier. When the show started, there was this whole joke where Gus was messing with the theremin, and they're like, what's that? It's a musical instrument. No, that's the sound of me trying to find the station, actually. No, what's great about this is a musical instrument that you play without touching it. Gus, yeah. Probably should have used that same advice, though, in the Burlesque Girls from last week's show. Ba-doom-tsh. Like, I mean, dead serious. That was an actual joke in the beginning of the movie. But, the theremin starts acting up, and of course, they don't know how to unplug it or turn it off, and it's now causing this weird echo feedback through the PA system, according to Carmichael anyway. And it's driving everybody crazy, little electrical shots going on. Eventually, Carmichael gets up, unplugs it, and tells everybody that's what it is. It's just feedbacking through your PA. And of course, Lily's like, no, it's Mr. Wiggles. Yeah, it was him. It was always him. And of course, he doesn't want to argue with a small child, so he's just like, all right, whatever you say, who cares? Who cares? And he sits down, and as they start talking a little bit more about Mr. Wiggles, why did he call him Mr. Wiggles? Well, he kind of wriggles his way into me and then wiggles his way out of me. And Carmichael, just being the douche he is, just can't let this go. He's just like, there's no way that you want to believe this, Jack. There's no way you could believe this. Like, how can anyone believe this? Like, she's really possessed by a demon. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is a joke. And of course, Jack's like, okay, well, could we speak to Mr. Wiggles if he's here in this room right now, since he did all this? And of course, Lily's like, yeah, let's do it. And she was like, no, let's not do it. And of course, the audience is like, no, let's totally do it. And then me watching at home, it's like, no, you shouldn't be doing this, but we know you're going to watch this because I've seen the trailer. I know it's about to come up. So eventually, everybody kind of ambushes her into, doing this because, again, there's a lot on the line here. Not just for viewership, but remember that check I talked about earlier, Carmichael's check? It's brought up a couple of other times that, maybe tonight would be the night he gives out this check, because, magical things are going to happen. But after everyone kind of jumps on her, they're like, fine, we'll do it. But if I have the cooperation of you, your crew, and the audience, we can do this because I need to control environment. And of course, Jack's all giddy and he's like, yeah, all right, guys, after these commercials from our sponsors, we're going to come back and commune with the devil. And of course, they cut the commercial. We got, back at the scene things. Of course, June is pissed. She's like, you ambushed me, you son of a bitch. We talked about this. This is dangerous. And Jack's like, but you want to prove them wrong. People like him need to be proven wrong. Like, what you're doing is not a joke. It's not a farce. It ain't bullshit. And you got to prove these people wrong. And June's like, I'm only doing this because Lily wants to do this, but fuck you, Jack. But she doesn't say that per se, but that's the look she gave him. And, of course, they come downstairs and they get everybody set up. And, of course, they got to restrain Lily to the chair. And Gus comes over and it's just like, Jack, I'm worried about you, about the situation. Like, you're messing with the occult, man. You're messing with the occult, and this is not okay. Some of the crew wants to walk off, man. Like this is not okay. And, he's just like, don't worry, man. Like, it'll be all right. Yeah? Well, tell that to Christo. What do you mean? Well, I know he's dead, for one. What do you mean you know he's dead? We all know, man. We're all talking about it. Keep that to yourself. We don't need that spreading around like wildfire. A little late for that, Jack, I have to say. But basically ends with Gus wanting to jump ship, and basically Jack's just like, no, stay with me. No matter what happens, you stay with me. Now, unless the Satan himself comes out of the ground, you stay with me. You don't come in and you don't leave. And that's like, all right. So, of course, we get everybody back situated. We come back. And they're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to do the first ever seance here live on television. We're actually about to commune with the devil. Ladies, Godspeed. He walks off. And, of course, we hyper-focus on June. And June's just like, now, guys, here's some ground rules. No matter what happens, no matter what is said, no matter what is done, remain calm. Do not worry, do not panic. I need Lily's attention to be focused on me. Okay? Of course, everybody's like, yeah, we got this. Okay, let's go. Shh. Yeah, shh. And then she starts, of course, and she, simple hypnosis, very simple hypnosis, just, are you relaxed? Deep breaths and asleep, one of those things. And, of course, she's like, Lily, can you hear me? Nothing. Mr. Wiggles, can you hear me? Nothing. As soon as she's about to ask another question, it starts moving, demonic twitching and shit, the whole bone crackling effect we always hear, that that kind of effect that starts happening. The chair's rattling a little bit. Everyone's just like, oh my god. And she of course, she's like, shh, everyone calm down, shh, just nobody do anything, just shh, just it'll be okay. And then eventually the demon wakes up. And we get like a beautiful look at, the hair covering the one eye. And of course everyone's like, oh my god, oh, but panicking like they're not supposed to. And of course the demon's looking around like, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? Like, why did you bring me here, doctor? Like, what the hell, man? Like, what's going on? Like, I've never seen a demon confused. Like, I've seen a demon come into a possession and be all cocky. I've never seen a demon come into a possession and just be like, what the hell? Where am I? What body did I inhabit? What is going on here? Never seen a demon do that. But, of course, she's like, calm down. We brought you here because we want to understand you. We want to understand your purpose. My purpose? My purpose. He's here, isn't he? Of course, referring to Jack. And then she don't say anything. And she turns and looks at Jack, and she says the iconic line that actually got me hooked to want to see this movie is, she looks at Jack and says, it's good to see you again, Jack. That line was the whole reason I wanted to watch this movie. I'm just like, wait a minute, he just talked to the devil. The first thing out the devil's mouth was, it's good to see you again, Jack. I gotta see how this plays out. I was not disappointed. But Jack's just, playing jokes all the side. He's just like, I don't think we've been formally introduced. And of course, the demon's just like, don't play with me. We've met before. Amongst the tall trees, do you remember? And of course, Jack's like, no, I don't. And then, of course, the demon then makes like a look at June. And, of course, she starts going ham on June. She's just like, Junie, always with the Junie. You better be careful with Jack, Junie. You all remember what happened to his last whore. Like, I mean, dead serious. Like, she gets into those tangents. And then this was great. Like, I love this little TV magic here. Just this little TV magic. So, as she's taunting June, she starts singing, Jack and June went up the hill to fuck. Over and over again. Yeah, just a little nursery rhyme to say that. And what's great about this scene is that the first fuck comes through the television. The second fuck is actually bleeped. And I love that little attention to detail. Just that beautiful little attention. Like, that would be an actual thing they would do if someone was to say fuck a couple of times. Granted, Bidwell made the best joke about it. He was like, no, this was the 1970s. They would have held it there until that bitch slapped. They would have held that beep, because they didn't know what the hell was about to come out of that girl's mouth. But after, getting riled up a little bit, June slaps the shit out of her. And, of course, the demon's just like, June, why would you do this? Oh, my God, Lily, I'm so... And then, of course, it's a joke. It's a ploy. It's a, ha on June. And, of course, there's a couple more fussing and, a little bit more aggravating and stuff. A couple of F-bombs or drop some more. Not really, but I wish there was more, because that would have been funny as hell. And then everything gets quiet for a second, and then Jack's wife's voice looks at Jack and says, how can you let this happen? And then there's a scream, the chair levitates, we all gasp, oh my God, I can't believe this. She drops, session's over. Lily's back, she's like, I'm sorry, June, I'm so sorry. June's like, no, I'm sorry, hugging, Jack's just like, the hell did I just witness? And of course, Carmichael couldn't be impressed. Carmichael's just like, oh, that was a fascinating performance you put on. Yeah, that's the look. Oh my God. But after all this, the whole, I'm sorry, Joe, I'm sorry, but Jack's just like, yeah, we'll be right back after these breaks. Yeah. And then, of course, we, cut to commercial. And there's, like, this awkward silence where everyone's just, like, befuddled about what the hell. Like, even the audience, when they're leaving out, will barely clap. And they're just, holy shit. They had that energy. Just like, they didn't know what the hell they just saw. And then, as... we were, everyone's coming back from that. They're all rushing to Lily, help her trying to get out. And then June pulls Jack aside and goes, Jack, I don't get it. I don't get what? What does she mean you met by the tall trees? And then Jack is like, oh, I don't know. She's your patient, kind of brushing her off. And then you hear, oh my God, you're hurting me. And of course, she goes over there. Or he goes over there, grabs the dagger, and starts undoing the restraints, and then puts the dagger down on the table, which Eric called that out as bad placement. And I was just like, yeah, that is bad placement indeed. I see that it's coming back at us tenfold. And then, of course, Gus comes back, and he is beyond freak. He's just like, Jack, I don't know what the hell just happened. People just walked out. I can't with this shit. Like, holy shit, man. Like, I can't. And then, of course, Leo comes in, and it's just like, hey, man, everything's going great. It's fantastic. Best rating ever. Holy shit, man. We're back on the team. We're back in the running. Sweet Weep is in the bag. We're all celebrating because it's just been a fantastic and glorious day all the way around. And then, of course, he's like, knock him dead, to get back on the stage. They sit down, we come back, and, we start talking to Lily about, what just happened. They're like, from coming back from this last break, like, you missed some craziness, everybody. Lily, what do you remember of this? And she's like, it's like I'm there, but I'm not in control. It's very weird. And, of course, Carmichael's first thing out of his mouth is, I'm concerned about the well-being and safety of this child. How dare you parade her around like this, June? And that's when June starts bucking back against her, going, me and her are family. And that's when that moment happens with Lily, and she's like, I don't see really much as family. Just moving that hand just kind of slightly. Anyway, they get into like a big argument. Okay, like how did this happen? We all saw her freaking levitate. Even Drew's like, she levitate for Christ's sakes. Like, how is any of this fake? Because he's arguing that this is fake, it's false. And he's like, oh, I can prove it to y'all. I can prove it to y'all. I let me show it to y'all. I can show y'all how she did this. I need a volunteer. And Gus is like, thank you, Gus, for volunteering. Let's go. And Gus is just like, damn it, man. So they, of course, they get down. They bring up the amuse, the chairs again. Everybody sits down. There's a couple little jokes here, especially about the smoke machine. They're just like, thanks for the amuse, Jack. Well, as the old saying goes, where there's smoke, there's a smoke machine. Or another one where Gus sits down. He's just like, my wife likes the way my head fits on my shoulders. So could you not make it spin around for me, please? And he's just like, no, nothing extreme like that, Jack. All right, I'm sorry, Gus. And of course, this is where the group hypno scene comes in at. So of course he starts doing the thing, asking everybody, are y'all relaxed? Viewers at home, are you relaxed? Is everybody good? All right, watch on the monitor now. Brings out the little clock with the little hypno thing and starts doing his thing. Doing the calm, you're feeling relaxed, aren't you? You're in a deep slumber and you don't even know it kind of thing, the casual, magician trick. And of course, a little flashing light happens. And this flashing light to me is important, by the way, but this flashing light happens. And then, Gus comes back and he's like, all right, Gus, tell me more about this fear you have of worms. Oh, I hate worms. It's very disgusting. Uh-huh. Well, Gus, you know you're in a trance right now. Well, no, not in a trance. But you are. I don't feel like I'm in a trance, but you are. But you are. Okay, you're the expert. You say I'm in a trance. I'm in a trance. Ha ha. Well, son, I'm getting very itchy. Oh, man, it's getting hot in here. He starts taking off his, jacket. He's like, what's the matter, Gus? You okay? Yeah, just hot all of a sudden. Just very itchy. Like, what the hell? Gus, you got a little something right here in your neck. Yeah, I cut myself shaving earlier. And then he starts pulling out worms covered in blood. And he's just like, oh my God. And you hear like the audience freaking out. I'm over here like, what the hell just happened? What in H.P. Lovecraft just happened here? And then, of course, he starts like really freaking out. And he's like, I can feel them inside me. And he's like ripping off his shirt. Not even sexy either. Like he's got the dad bod, bro. But, he's just like, I'm going to button this up because my wife paid for the shirt. And he rips the shirt open. And he's just like, look at this. And he, rips open his guts. And of course, more worms and blood falls out. Now, pay attention to Lily in this scene. Because you notice Lily's in the background giggling her ass off, going, why is Gus so funny? You can hear it, you can see it. So you know something's not right here. Something's not right. But everybody else is like, oh my God, like Jackson. They're like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And, of course, June is as well. And, me as the audience member is also equally as confused. And then, Carmichael's like, all right, let's end this rod. And he says, Dreamer now awake. Dreamer now awake. Wait, this is not supposed to happen. Dreamer now awake. And of course, Gus is not coming out of this trance. And Gus is like, it's coming out of my head. And he rips open his scalp, and the worm pops out. Like a mutated worm pops out. And of course, Carmichael's freaking out. And eventually, the flashlight happens. Again, he's just like, awake. And we're all back to normal. Everyone's just like sitting around like, what the hell? The fuck? what? And even I'm just like, what just happened? What just, but what, explain, Carmichael, explain. And Carmichael's just like, oh yeah, it's a really neat trick I did. And, you know, Lily's like, what do you mean a trick? He played a really cruel prank on us, Lily. And Lily's just sitting there like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it, because she wasn't hypnotized. She couldn't be hypnotized. She's already possessed. Well, anyway, after all of that, you know, they're just like, there's no way, like, how can you explain the worms and all, you know, the thing, like, explain this, Carmichael, please. He's like, I will. Play back the tapes. Well, okay, yeah, let's play back the tapes. Gus, and Gus is just like, yeah, I don't really remember anything. What about the worms? What worms? Oh, God, I hope there was no worms. I hate worms. And then, of course, everybody's laughing as he's buttoning up his shirt because he doesn't know what the hell just happened. But they're just like, let's roll back these tapes and watch them. So we go back and we watch the whole routine. Like, we as the audience member are watching it, you know, where he does the suggested thing, you know, like, you're getting a little hot, aren't you? Yeah, so of course, you know, Gus comes up, which, by the way, I thought this was funny. When he took his jacket off, he completely missed the chair and just dropped it on the floor. I love that. Just, yeah, it's hot. Like, you could just, okay, yeah, okay. But, you know, Carmichael does a little suggestion, you know, just, oh, you know, don't worry about anything. Do you hear that weird noise, by the way? Because there was the weird theorem noise came back during this little whole flashback or this hypno scene, and the wailing of like a ghostly spirit or something, and it's all suggestive by Carmichael. And we see this in the tape flashback where he's just like, do you hear that? The theremin, the spooky wailing of a ghost. What's that on your neck? Oh, is that a worm? Is that a bunch of worms? Why don't you rip open yourself up and see what's inside? And of course they're like, all right, enough. And of course Gus is embarrassed. He's like, oh my God. Oh God, I can't believe I did that on television. Oh my God, why is that a thing? Why did I do that? And, you know, Jack is just like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell? None of it was real. And he's like, my point stands. None of it's real. That's what she did. She is a liar. She's a farce. She's not really doing anything. She just group hypnotized everybody. And of course, you know, she's like, no, the hell I didn't. I did not group hypnotize anybody. I am an actual trained psychologist. I know what I'm doing. And then Lily says the smart thing. Lily's just like, well, if he doesn't believe that we didn't do it, why don't we look back at our tapes? And everybody else is like, yeah, let's look back at our tapes. And Carmichael's like, yeah, okay, you know what, fine, let's do that. Let's look back at these tapes. And right before we're about to look at those tapes, the producers step in and go, the singer's waiting on the sideline. There's a singer who's supposed to be coming in and singing, but we're going to push her out the way so we can look at these tapes. And he doesn't say that. He just says, how about we ask her to come back at a later time, because I want to see how this ends, and I don't want to leave y'all on a cliffhanger. So they cut to the tapes. Now, before the tapes, June was very adamant about not looking back at the tapes. She's like, I don't think it's a good idea. We've been through enough. And, of course, Lily's just like, please, June, please, I want to prove this. I want to show it. Going back to what the cult leader said about, you know, even people who witnesses these acts of rituals will now be, I guess, summoned or gets the feels to do rituals like this. It's all part of the demon's plan, you know? So, they convinced June to go back, and they're watching this. And looking back at the tapes, and they're like, holy shit. Like, this is real. This actually happened. And, of course, you know, Carmichael's like, yeah, now I'm going to need my team of forensic people to come collect these tapes and look at them. You know, we're going to need them for a couple of weeks. You know, so, yeah, like even he don't believe it. And, of course, Jack sees something that we all saw, but we weren't sure that we saw. So he's like, back up the tapes a little bit, and they go frame by frame. But you eventually see what we've been seeing and flickers and stuff, and that's his wife standing behind him. And of course, he's just like, oh my god. And Carmichael's like, this is a joke, right? You clearly set this up, man. This is an elaborate prank to get your viewings up. Bravo, man. You really done it. You impressed me. And they get into an argument, like a full-edged argument about all this. And, oh my god. So as they see, as they're arguing about this, they then have a problem where the studio starts shaking for a minute and then all the lights go out. And as the lights go out, of course, Lily stands up, lights come back on, and now she's screaming, and there's electricity coming through her. And, of course, people try to touch her, and they're getting electrified, so they're not touching her. And then Abraxas himself appears out of her freaking skull, man. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, her skull rips open, which that was actually a pretty cool effect, by the way. I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty cool effect. But her skull rips open, and it just screams of terror and a flashing light. A big, bright light. And, of course, there's, like, this one after the other situation that ends up happening right here that I think is so fucking funny. So, as this... So they see this demon, right? They see this demon. Logically, this was me. I'll be like, fuck this shit, I'm out. One more time. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Where's the exit? Fuck this shit, I'm out. Screw it, I'm going out the window. I'm doing that shit. I'm not sticking around and gonna try to fight a demon. I ain't gonna try to deal with a demon, especially a demon that actually has a name, okay? If it's got a name and it ain't afraid to share its name, that means it is extremely powerful and does not give a shit if you know about him or not. So, no, I am not sticking around. My ass is gone. But no, not these fine folks. No, Gus over here acting all godly all of a sudden, brings out a cross, and he's just like, the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. And, the demon does not give a shit. The demon just breaks his neck, just twists this bitch a complete 180, making a joke about, what he said earlier about please leave my head intact. And, of course, his body smashes in front of this table, breaking everything. That's left on this table, by the way. And then, of course, June gets up and she tries to fight back because she has this little amulet. And throughout the original conversation with the devil they had, when the devil wouldn't leave, she pulled out this amulet and was like reciting some kind of prayer that the demon was quoting back to her. So apparently the demon knew exactly what the hell he was saying and was not scared of it. So she tried to do it again. And she didn't get very far this time. Instead of saying the full prayer, she got like 2 sentences in. And then suddenly the necklace grabs her and she starts being choked out. And of course, Jax goes to save her and he gets electrocuted and gets flung across the room. And she's like struggling to breathe and everything. Yeah, I don't know how this freaking happened. This must be the world's strongest chain on a necklace. But it doesn't break her neck, per se. It basically, I forget what the kill is called. It starts with a G. But it's like a neck slap or a neck slit. But it happens because the neck was pulled back so much. So it's like, oh God, I forget what the name it's called. I should have wrote it down, to be honest. But yeah, she, gets killed that way. And it's, oh my God, it's beautiful. It looks great, by the way. It looks great. I love this effect. Like, that was one of my favorites. And then Carmichael, and his infinite world of wisdom and skepticism, sees Abraxas, and is just like, oh my God, great and manifold Abraxas, it's truly you. Here's a check for $1 million. Please let me be part of your cult. And the demon don't give a shit. He's just like, bitch, you've been making fun of me all night. Go fuck yourself. And sets him on fire eternally. And, like, he burns from, like, the inside out. You just see his skin, like, get all red and bubbly. And it start melting. And he becomes ash. And, of course, Jack sees this. And he's like, what the fuck? And then, like, Jack, we gotta get out of here. Let's go. And then we're staring at Abraxas. And we zoom into the bright light. Now, this is where shit gets trippy, everybody. This is where shit gets trippy. So Jack, first we have a be right back Technical difficulties in the station. Be right back, kind of little thing. We come back, and we're now reliving the opening of Jack's story from the beginning of the movie. And I mean the opening to a T. Now, there's something I would like to add before we continue on with this section. Like I said, and we've all seen it. If you haven't seen it and this is your first time hearing about it, you gotta watch it for yourself, man. But I'm gonna do my best to explain it. So when Jack starts reliving these memories, these are what we saw as the audience. Think about some of the things we saw in these flashbacks. We saw the little caveman skit thing that we saw when they were talking about Jack's successful, talk show career. We saw the woman who brought in the animals, but instead of it being a spider, like it was in the opening, it was a giant worm. Now, where else have we seen a giant worm that look identical to that? Oh, yeah. During the hypnosis scene. Throughout the rest of this flashback, we see, of course, the old woman spinning the wheel. We see the hypnosis little spinny thing. I think what is happening in this entire scene is we are having a group hypnosis moment with just Jack. I think when Jack got electrocuted and he hit the wall, I think that's when he became unconscious. And we're now having a group hysteria with him. This is why when he first comes out, we're still in the 1970s, and then suddenly it goes into high definition widescreen, like modern day, and it's because it's for us. It's not just for Jack. Jack's living this nightmare, but it's also for us. This is we're hallucinating this shit. We're hallucinating. We're seeing this shit. Now, I don't know if necessarily it's a full group hallucination with Jack. I'm assuming it's with Jack because of the actions Jack does in this and the fact that we're learning information about Jack that we as the audience wouldn't necessarily know, that we would just assume. But, as the flashback or the this whole thing comes to fruition, we see the Grove incident. We see, let me phrase that. We see him writing out the contract like we saw in the beginning of the movie, signing the deal with the devil. And then we see him get picked up, put in robes, carried to the Grove, and we see a recreation of one of the scenes that they captured in the Grove when they were talking about it in the opening, and it was the giant owl, dude in an owl costume, and they were drinking and worshiping, this, I guess, owl creature or something. I don't know exactly why the owl was there, but there was an owl, and he was dancing. But we see this, and then after that contract and that ritual happens, we then cut to him talking to his wife, who is dying of lung cancer. So with all that in mind, this is how we could piece the story together. We literally have, he made the deal, he did the ritual, his wife died, now here's the end. And the way it ends is the full circle. And the reason why I say it's a group hallucination, because some of the characters, like we actually see the cult leader Diablo. Diablo's dead. He's been dead for years now. They say that in the documentary. But where have we seen Diablo? Oh yeah, that documentary thing they showed us before they brought Lily and June on. We're having this group hallucination with him. And, And the reason why I think he's still hallucinating, or let me phrase it, I don't think he got knocked out when he got electrocuted, but I think he got put on some type of hypnosis when he looked back at the light. Because there's a moment, before he leaves, before the camera zooms in onto the head, that he stares at her. Or stares at Abraxas, and we see the bright light, the flashing light, the cue for the hypnosis that fucking Carmichael used. And what's also great about this scene is as we're, piecing together the story of Jack's, history with everything, we get these fun intermittent cuts with station difficulties. At one point, it melts. It fucking melts. Like, it's like, technical difficulties, be right back. And then the music starts slowing down like it's 1408, and then it starts melting like it's 1408. I was just like, what the hell? Like, oh my God. And then at one point you have Jack looking at the camera, talking to us as the audience, going, please turn it off. Please turn it off. Shut your TVs off. Please just turn it off. Like, he is begging. He is pleading to turn this off, to make this stop. He's talking to us. To us as the audience. Not the actual audience in front of him, because that's a metaphor. Those are not actual people. Those are, the demons that are following him, the producers watching him. Those are part of this fucking weird limbo of hell that he's living in his hypnosis. We are who he's talking to, because he knows he's still live on television. He knows the cameras are in his face. He knows we are watching this, and we're not turning our TVs off. We're just like, holy shit, how much more crazier can this show get? This is definitely a 10 out of 10 show. Would definitely recommend. Tell Johnny Carson I'll see him next week. Not this week. It's Jack. It's Jack, man. But yeah, no, it gets like really fucking crazy, because, we got this fourth wall breaks, the high definition widescreen. We're seeing him go through this madness. We're in this madness with him. And then we get to see the moments where he, talks to his wife, and he's just like, he kind of finally admits that this is his fault. But this is not what he wanted. This is not what he wanted. He didn't want to lose his wife. And she's like, well, you did want to be number one, baby. You did want to be number one, but he was never number one per se. And again, this is why I say Lily was the final sacrifice, plus the three other people. Let me explain. So, he's talking to his wife, and she's like, baby, I'm dying of lung cancer. You know it, I know it. Put me out of my misery. She's giving a great performance, by the way. It's like a Jim Carrey from the Mask performance going on. But tell her, Jimmy, I can't come home for Christmas. Put me out of my misery. And he's like, okay, baby, I will. And he grabs the dagger that he left on the table, by the way. He grabs it, and he stabs her in the abdomen. And he's just like, baby, I'm sorry. And he looks up, and he realizes he stabbed Lily. None of this that he saw was true. Like I said, we were just in a group hysteria with him. And he stabbed Lily under the control of Abraxas, I'm willing to bet. Not like possession, full mind control, but under hypnosis. Because under hypnosis, you could tell somebody to do things. And as we saw with Gus, you could tell somebody could do things. But he stabs Lily. The audience is gone. The TV's still running. But we still see Lily's dead. Carmichael's dead. And burned up, by the way. All the bodies are exactly the way Lily did it. This is why I say the Lily thing is real. The whole Aproxis thing is real. Because the bodies are still there. Even after the hypnosis thing. Exactly the way they were. They're not like just random bodies that we thought we saw. No. Carmichael's still charred to her dust. Gus's head's still completely turned around. And he's still in the glass table. And June's throat is completely mangled, bleeding out. That was all real. But we end with Jack sitting there going, wake up, dreamer. Time to wake up. Wake up, dreamer. Time to wake up. And he keeps saying it over and over again because he thinks he's still in a freaking trance once he wakes up and realizes he stabbed Lily. And as it ends, of course, we cut to black. We see end of transmission, and then it changes to, and so it is done. Contract done. Contract ended. Now, does that make a little bit more sense, though, about the whole Lily, full circle thing? And if not, let's try to break this down a little bit more. And I don't think there's really much more to break down. But I did bring it up a couple of times. I've been kind of all over the place, so let me try to break it down a little bit more cohesive, if I may say. So the way I look at everything is Jack signed a 5-year contract to work with the UBC company, and that's basically the production company he's working with. He basically sold his soul to the devil, and the price he had to pay for success was his wife. Now, whether that was today, whether that was tomorrow, whether that was a few years from now, only the devil knows. Now, the devil's hand had to move a little bit because the FBI raided the house and the cult leader killed themselves, thus sacrificing the many children that they were planning on sacrificing in the name of Abraxas. Now they just sacrificed themselves because they didn't want to be caught by the FBI. But one child remained. One, that is Lily. So what are we going to do with this? Like, Lily needs to be fulfilled. One of his minions are hanging around in Lily. So what do we do here? Well, we get the bowl in motion. Let's see how much Jack is willing to pay to be number one. How much is he willing to sacrifice to be number one? Let's start with his wife. His wife is the first to go. She is sacrificed, he's heartbroken, but he still powers on. Think about it. He was only gone for a month, a single month. And then he came back in full swing, ready to go, coming up with all these plans and questions and schemes and stuff to get back to number one. But yet couldn't. But the highest grossing episode he had was when his wife showed up. Which, by the way, when they recreated that and that mindfuck of a scene at the end, that was kind of like, that was messed up. But they still needed him to kind of accept the fact that it's his fault that his wife died. And in the end, he basically did. He kind of accepted that he killed his wife because he basically sold her soul to basically the devil. So, you know, ritual sacrifice, baby, I love you. But, you know, fame was important. Number one was important. And technically, in the group between him and his wife, he became number one because his wife was dead. But he was never number one over Carson. Not until he killed Lily. And he killed 3 others. That's the term and conditions of the contract. He killed his wife to be number one in his party. You know, between him and his wife, he became number one. Couldn't be number one over Carson. But once that happened and things were set in motion, think about it now. What are the odds that Lily gets with June, June makes a manuscript, this manuscript comes across Jack's desk, Jack likes June, starts spending a lot of time with June, June works with Lily, who works with Apraxis, who conveniently days before we went on the show was super excited to see his buddy Jax again. This was all part of his plan. This was all part of the devil's plan. The devil's a genius. The devil's a fucking genius. I don't know why people try to downplay him like he's an idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about. No, the devil is a genius, especially the way he words things in this contract. Seriously, guys, you ever want to make a deal with the devil, as a crossroad demon, whatever demon you want to make, I highly recommend you don't. Don't do this, guys. Do not sell your soul to the devil. Do not try to make deals with the devil. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't try to find that crossroad demon. Don't do it. But if you are going to do it, read the contract. Read it thoroughly. Get a lawyer involved if you must. Like, it's going to be weird when the demon's just like, hey, yeah, you want to sell your soul? Read this contract. You're going to be like, hang on a second. Jimmy, come here. I need you to read this contract. And he's going to be you and your lawyer just looking at this contract like, what do you mean? I own you. You own 70% of my soul. Nah, bro, that's not fair. Let's cut this shit back by 20% at least. You know, some bullshit like that. But that's the whole point of making a deal with the devil. It's never cut clean and dry. It is literally a fucking mess. And whenever the devil is ready to own up and pay his dues, you gotta pay it just right back. But the devil requires sacrifice. So yeah, he became number one in his group with him and his wife because his wife was no longer there. But his contract with the devil was still ongoing. So he still had time to be number one on all talk show radios, which he actually succeeded once he killed Lily and Lily killed the other 3 people in front of the cameras. Thus is why at the end of the movie it says, "So it is done." The contract's fulfilled. The contract's over. He did his part. Jack did his part. Lily did her part. Everybody did their part. Everybody, they showed up on time. They rehearsed their scenes very well. It was a standing ovation. People are proud. People threw roses. There was a couple of curtain calls. But, we all did good that day. We all did good. Now, whether Jack or not, gets to enjoy his fame and fortune, we don't know this. We really don't know this because Jack is mentally fucked up by the end of that movie. Because again, he's just like, wake up, dreamer. Just wake up, dreamer. Come on, dreamer, wake up. Please wake up. Like, bro, there ain't no waking up. You are awake as much as you're going to be awake. The deal's over. The demon's gone. You fulfilled the destiny. Now, whether he went to the Grove and went back to them and tried to explain the situation, or if he got locked up for, whatever happened, whether we actually saw what actually happened live when it came out, or, what. I believe we saw what was live when it came out, to be honest, and that it was the highest grossing episode ever, but because it was so disturbing and like, oh my god, we can't talk about this. We don't hear about Jack's talk show Late Night Owls anymore. All we hear about is the late night show with insert random person who's in charge. I don't know who's running the show now. Who is running the show now? I have no idea. The point is, it's not Carter, or not Carter. I must say Jimmy Carter. No, he was president. He was running for president. No, I don't think Carson. Oh shit! I forgot I lost my train of thought there because of the Jimmy Carter reference. God damn it! Just curse my small girl brain. Anyway, the point is, the contract ran up. It was done. The movie's done. And that's how I look at it. We as the audience got to watch the chaos unfold. Thus is why we saw the hypnos thing, because we were part of the audience that got hypnotized. Because even asked during the group hypnos thing, who in the audience got hypnotized? You did, but the rest of y'all didn't. All right, and even Carmichael's like, I probably got a couple of viewers at home as well. So yeah, there is a lot to take in, especially when it comes to the idea that this is a found footage movie, and you have to think about it as a found footage movie that's set on a television studio that's a talk show. He is going to be breaking the fourth wall. He is going to be talking to us. Lily was actually kind of talking to us by staring at the camera and shit. Like, she was looking into my soul, bro. Like, that's generally how I see it, though. I believe the way it ended is exactly how I said it. It was a group hysteria thing. During this hypnosis, Abraxas convinced Jack to kill Lily, or to stab Lily, by making him think it was his wife. Kind of making him not only own up to the fact that it was his wife, that his wife got killed, that I'm sure Abraxas loved that juicy emotion coming out of him, but the fact that Lily got sacrificed in the name of Abraxas, and it's all good. It's all good. We're Gucci. We're fine now. Jack's maybe mentally unstable for the rest of his life and probably never see his scent ever again, and thus is why we never heard anything about this show. But I like it. Overall, I like it. I give it a solid 8. Like, straight up, I give it a solid 8. I did have it at like a 7 at one point, but watching a second time and noticing a lot of extra little details they added in, some of the moments, the comedic moments, the ghostly moments and stuff like that, I appreciate it a little bit more. I wish it was scarier. I wish the background footage or the backstage footage was shot a little differently, so it felt more authentic backstage footage and not like we just added this in because we need to fill out some time here. But I like the camera work, I like the trickery, I like the costumes, I like the writing. It was a little cheesy at some points, but I could get past that. I mean, seriously, I'm gonna be honest, this has been one of the better horror movies I watched this year that wasn't imaginary. Because I did eventually sit down and watch that, I think a week or so back. I got my hands on a copy. Don't ask. Seriously, don't ask. Don't ask. But I sat down and watched this movie, and yeah, I was bored. I was bored out of my mind. I was so bored I actually fell asleep in my chair. I don't even know how I did. Like I was all like covered up, on a blanket. I was eating one of my snackies, and as I'm just watching this movie, we get to the part where the little girl is doing the scavenger hunt, and she asks for like oh fuck, what was it? Like a rock or something, and then that's when she made. Oh, Chauncey doesn't want to hang out with you. Like, yeah. I just started falling asleep right there. I was just like, woke up to some woman screaming, the babysitter screaming because Chauncey the bear grabbed her by the face. The screams with the headphones woke me up. I was like, Jesus Christ, who's dying? Oh, you. Again though, like. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just boring. Like, it's, okay, it's bad too. It's bad. Like, I was expecting a lot more. A lot more, to be honest. Especially the fact that the movie is advertised as imaginary, and there was nothing creative nor imaginative about it. It was very basic and very boring. At least it was somewhat better to a degree. I don't know. Like, I see Night Swim 2, which was that earlier January one, which that was a snooze fest too. I fell asleep like multiple times watching that one. I'm like, is this supposed to be PG-13 horror for who? An 8-year-old? Like, this is lame. This is stupid. But at least they were somewhat written better. Like, I don't know people who talk like half these people in both those movies, by the way. Like, I don't. So yeah, watching this movie was a real treat. It was real nice. I enjoyed it for the slow burn, the spooky build atmosphere, the 1970s get-ups, the looks, the wardrobes, the writing, the acting. It was good. It was really good. I'm glad I watched it on Shudder. Again, I love Shudder, guys, because they got some really good exclusive stuff, like the LLC House, Hell House series I absolutely love. Of course, we got Late Night with the Devil now. Which at some point I do want to talk about the Hell House series. I love that series. I truly love that series. It's a fun series, and it blew my fucking mind the first time I ever watched it. Especially when they actually let us see the gates of hell, man. I was so surprised by that. I'm like, the amount of times I've seen horror movies or any kind of biblical movies where the demon wants to open the gates of hell, and yet they never open the gates of hell. We actually get to see the gates of hell open. And I was just like, holy shit! Finally, after all these years, I'm impressed. But that's a story for another day. Well, I think I done rambled on long enough about this fantastic and wonderful movie, Late Night with the Devil. I highly suggest you go check it out if you have not. If you have, go check it out again. This is still a fun movie, and you probably see a lot of these fun little Easter eggs I was talking about. Especially some of the things you might have missed, like the little ghosts and stuff. Just remember to constantly pause on the computer, guys. Constantly pause. Keep an eye out. Super fun though, but when we go ahead and end this podcast here, I hope everybody has watched, is watching, will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. And guys, don't forget to watch this video here on YouTube. To like, subscribe, comment down below, hit that notification bell, because you never know what's going to happen here. Trust me, I never know, especially with the algorithm. And we know how YouTube's algorithm is. You got to be a little nice to it, so extra comments, extra likes, extra love, extra share might go a long way, especially for this fun, fantastic podcast. Unless you're watching this on Spotify, then do whatever you gotta do on there to get this video rolling. I don't know exactly how Spotify works when it comes to liking, if you can just strictly just follow, just to listen, subscribe. I have no idea, but do whatever you can on there. Share the love there. I'm going to get the podcast out there for everybody. I know I don't do it as weekly as I did last year, but I got a little, I'm not going to say got a little burnt out, but I was really stretching myself thin between gaming on YouTube and doing the podcast and doing the live streams. I can't do it all, man. I want to do it all. That's the sad part. I want to do it all, especially my editing and the streaming and the gaming and stuff and my podcast. But, I only have so many hours in the day, and I got people that actually want to spend time with me. It's kind of weird, right? People that actually want to spend time with me. So I got to figure out how to schedule that shit in. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. It's a joke, guys. It's just a joke. I swear it's just a joke. But that is something I do take into consideration when it comes to gaming and stuff. That's why I really don't game too much over the weekends. That's just me and my baby's time. We got to spend a lot of time together. We watch movies and play our own little video games. All stream, to ourselves kind of thing. Most of the time I watch him play video games and add my little inputs here and there. Just spend some time with him. But I digress. The point is, I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. And guys, I'll see y'all next time on the Scream Stream where we'll start episode 51. I'm not sure what we're going to watch. I came up with a couple of different ideas. We got the Mike Flanagan ranking list of all the best stuff that he has done, and from oh god, I think like 2007, 2008, one of the earliest, all the way up to now. Of course, we got the Hell House franchise. I do want to talk about the Amityville house at some point. I might want to dabble, because remember how I started earlier this year, Let's Talk About? I could make that more as well directed towards spiritual hauntings and stuff. So instead of just being let's talk about insert killer from a horror movie, we could kind of expand it a little bit and maybe be like, let's talk about the Amityville Horror House, or let's talk about this house or this story or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But that's a story for another day. So until then, my friends, y'all take care.